This is Nationwide 90 FM, owned and operated by Nationwide News Network Limited. We broadcast from our studios at 14 Ocean Boulevard in the Digicel Center, downtown Kingston, Jamaica. Transmitting on the FM 90 band, 90.3 from Peters Rock in St. Andrew and Murphy Hill in St. Anne. Serving Kingston and St. Andrew, St. Catherine, St. Anne, parts of Clarendon, St. Mary and St. Thomas. 90.5 from Huntley in Manchester, transmitting to St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, Manchester, Clarendon, rural St. Andrew and parts of St. Thomas. And 90.7 from Cooper's Hill in St. Andrew and Flower Hill in St. James. Serving Westmoreland, Hanover, St. James, sections of Trelawney, Kingston, St. Catherine, Clarendon, St. Mary, Portland and St. Anne. Nationwide 90 FM also broadcasts on YouTube and Nationwide 90 FM Live too. RevoNews.ai and on Flow on channel 916. Nationwide 90 FM, a new revolution in media.
You're listening to Nationwide 90 FM. The time is
6 o'clock.
From the studios of Nationwide Radio, morning radio the right way. It's Nationwide This Morning.
A very good morning to you. I'm Tawna Thomas. Coming up in the news at 6 for this morning, Wednesday, March 18, 2026. Opposition leader Mark Golding says the government's plan for a digital tax will hinder rather than help local businesses. And the opposition leader says though resources are scarce, the allocation under the ROOFs program is inadequate. Tension flared between defense and prosecutors in the Klansman gang trial over the alleged recording of the accused while they were being shuttled to court. In regional news, hundreds of Trinidadians have been sent back home after their application for asylum in the UK was denied. In international news, more deaths reported as the UK tries to contain an outbreak of meningitis. In sports, the under-17 Reggae Girls are humbled by Mexico in CONCACAF World Cup qualifier. And in business, British tourists are seeking an alternative to Dubai due to war in the Middle East. The details after the break.
Every day, Rosie has a glass of fruit drink with breakfast, an energy drink on the way to work, a flavored water with lunch, and 2 glasses of soda with dinner, which adds up to more than 50 teaspoons of sugar a day. And all that extra sugar could bring on obesity. Are we drinking ourselves sick? 71% of Jamaicans support a tax on sugary drinks. Help tackle obesity and protect our children's future. A message from the Heart Foundation of Jamaica.
Catch the first news of the day. A comprehensive package of local, international, sports, and business news. The news at 6 on Nationwide 90 FM.
Now to the details. Opposition leader Mark Golding says the government's plan to tax digital services will hinder rather than help local businesses. He made the argument during his contribution to the budget debate in Gordon House on Tuesday.
The minister spread confusion and muddied the waters by seeking to justify this new tax as protecting local retailers. How can imposing GCT on digital services help local retailers? It is policy incoherence.
The tax on digital services is expected to generate $300 million in the upcoming fiscal year, with an additional $4 billion in the 2027-28 fiscal year. During her budget presentation last Tuesday, Finance Minister Favour Williams announced that the tax is meant to address an unfair reality where local businesses carry the tax load while many online business platforms avoid the burden. She noted that local retail businesses are slowly going out of business as many Jamaicans turn to online services, which often fall outside the country's tax system. Golding says that the implementation of the digital tax lacks clarity.
In 2024, their government already provided an incentive for imported goods that are purchased online. They doubled the customs duty threshold from $50 US to $100 US. So they're moving in two competing directions. But the truth of the matter is that if it's a digital services tax on intangibles, it really has no impact on retailers.
Mark Golding, opposition leader. Meanwhile, Golding also proposed $1 billion fund for young Jamaicans who create technology-based businesses.
Madam Speaker, our young people in this country have ideas, they have energy, they have talent, they need capital, they need mentorship. What are you doing about this? I don't see nothing, way too little. We would have established a revolving $1 billion National Youth Innovation Fund to support youth-led tech and creative startups, empowering our youth to innovate and lead. That would be building back better. You must do something for the young people.
Mark Golding, opposition leader. And Mr. Golding says the government's restoration of owner or occupant family shelters roofs program is insufficient to adequately address the housing needs of Jamaicans impacted by Hurricane Melissa.
The government's housing repair program, roofs, is less than 1/3 of 1% of GDP. The PIOJ says the damage to Jamaica is 56% of GDP. A $500,000 grant, Jamaican, to households rendered homeless by the storm. It is welcome, but it's also clearly inadequate to rebuild homes. The same is true for the households that suffered major damage and are receiving $200,000 grants towards their repairs, and the $75,000 grants for those who suffered relatively minor damage. All of that money is welcome, no doubt, but clearly it is insufficient to repair the major damage to the housing stock in Western Jamaica in particular.
The Roofs program was launched in January this year. It aims to assist homeowners to repair homes and roofs damaged during Melissa's passage. Grants range from $75,000 to $500,000. The government says over $5 billion in grants have been disbursed under the program since inception. But Golding says the program is only a temporary fix in a context where permanent solutions are badly needed.
The Roofs program also appears to ignore the element of resilience in its design, merely handing out grants of amounts which are manifestly insufficient to cover the cost of adequate repairs, guarantees that households resort to the least cost approaches to effecting those repairs because the money is enough, so they have to make it stretch. This is clearly short-sighted, Madam Speaker, as Jamaicans should be using construction materials and techniques that will make their homes more resilient to future climate disasters than they were before.
Mark Golding, opposition leader. Meanwhile, Golding says proper preparations should have been put in place by the government before ending its 50-year Cuban medical partnership.
Prime Minister, you operate in fora, which I don't. So there may be things that you're aware of that I am not. But before you make a move like that, you have to put other things in place. You can't terminate an agreement that the Jamaican people are relying on and have nothing in place and be scrambling around while people are suffering. Again, poor government, mismanagement. For the record, we in this House, and I believe on both sides, thank the government and people of Cuba for their 50 years of valuable and selfless service to the Jamaican people, and we join with other Jamaicans who regard this so-called principled realism as an act really of a response to external pressure in a way that has been at the expense of the Jamaican people.
Golding describes the reasons given by the government for the end of the partnership with Cuba as unconvincing.
The foreign minister, having told Parliament that this decision had nothing to do with pressure from the US, that is what she said in this Parliament, that decision had nothing to do with pressure from the US. A few days later, had her ministry subsequently issue a statement affirming that it is widely known, in quotes, that the US has publicly raised concerns with the program before articulating what I regard as unconvincing reasons as the purported justification for terminating a program that has done so much to help Jamaicans to have access to quality health services, and the termination of which has left a very substantial unfilled gap in healthcare delivery, especially in underserved areas.
Mark Golding, opposition leader. Now, scores of Jamaicans marched along Heroes Circle in Kingston on Tuesday in a public show of solidarity with those Cuban doctors who worked under the Cuban medical program. The peaceful march saw participants dressed in white T-shirts, displaying both the Jamaican and Cuban flags side by side. They chanted, "God bless Cuba, thank you Cuba, bring back Cuba." Organizer Michael Ennis says it was important to make a public gesture in support of the Cuban professionals.
It was a walk of Jamaicans showing gratitude and appreciation for the Cuban medical workers who are about to leave. Our objective was to have it publicized in a manner that the Cubans would know that Jamaicans are doing this or showing their gratitude. We had, I think, close to 300 persons walk from Sutton Street and Hanover Street up to Heroes Circle.
Michael Ennis, organizer of the Cuban-Jamaican Walk of Gratitude. The Holiness Administration announced the end of the 50-year Cuban medical program earlier this month. It cited the failure to agree terms with its Cuban counterpart as the reason for the discontinuation of the 50-year-old program. Documents obtained by Nationwide News revealed that the Cuban professionals had been working under conditions of servitude, with their salaries being turned over to the Cuban government by its Jamaican counterpart. Economist Keenan Fortness says a removal of general consumption tax on water could be a suitable way to encourage healthier living. Mr. Fortner was reacting to Mark Golding's contribution to the budget debate while speaking on Nationwide at 5 on Tuesday.
If you really want to change behavior, then you can use tax policy in a way that can encourage healthier habits, and removing taxes maybe on healthier foods maybe one way that you can do that, or taxing heavily foods that are bad for you. So it's just the reverse, I think, of what the minister might have proposed.
Opposition leader Mark Golding proposed the GCT removal on water during his presentation in the House of Representatives. He made the comment as he criticized the government's imposition of a special consumption tax, SCT, on non-alcoholic sugary drinks. Mr. Fortner says the government expects to rack in revenue from the sugary drink tax. It also indicates that citizens' consuming habits wouldn't have changed.
Well, I think that has to be looked at in the context of disincentivizing bad behavior or trying to incentivize good behavior. On a whole, when you look at the tax package and the revenue that it is expected to yield, you see that a lot of it is on what are supposed to be relatively inelastic goods that you demand and that you consume. So if the revenue projections indicate that you're going to get a certain amount of money from this, then it means that habits have not changed. So you still demand the same amounts, you still intend to consume it in the same proportion. So it is really a revenue collection device.
Keenan Fortner, economist. Meanwhile, former president of the MSME Alliance, Donovan Wignall, says given the fallout from Hurricane Melissa, the taxes introduced by the government to rake in revenue are necessary evils.
But when you look at what Melissa has done to the country, what the geopolitical tensions in the Middle East is going to be doing to the country, apart from the additional revenue that you'll get from the bump in SCT because of the increase in the cost of fuel coming in, a lot of other things are going to present real challenges to the government to collect the revenue. And to answer your question, can we give up revenue? No, in the face of everything that we face. And the answer is just, sadly, no, we can't.
So you put that as not feasible, aspirational as you put it.
Aspirational but not feasible. I think at the end of the day, the government has to get every bit of revenue that it can, and the tax package presented is the lesser of two evils, I think.
Donovan Wignall, former president of the MSME Alliance. Turning now to the courts, tensions have flared in the Klansman gang trial on Tuesday as the prosecutors and defense attorneys clashed over video footage of the accused recorded while they were being taken to court. Last Wednesday, the defense raised concerns that police personnel may have photographed and filmed the accused men. Those photographs and videos were taken to court. 25 accused, including the alleged gang leader Tesha Miller, are before the courts charged under the anti-gang legislation. Robian Williams reports.
The court was informed that the footage was recorded by the Jamaica Constabulary Force, Constabulary Communications Network, CCN, as part of a feature on the SWAT team present at court. On Tuesday, the prosecutor told the court that all material brought by the police team was shown to defense counsel and that none of the footage or images contained any of the accused men. He said a request was made for specific time frame and details of the alleged interaction raised by defense attorney Tamika Harris, but that information had not been provided. The court also heard that the footage was not continuous, resulting in gaps in timestamps. The prosecutor reiterated that the purpose of the CCN team's presence was to capture footage of the SWAT team in operation, but said he had since instructed that the team discontinue filming at the location. He said, "I'm a cautious man, and whilst the JCF CCN team can remain, I don't want them to be here. I do not want any distractions. I informed them that they can take their feature elsewhere." The prosecutor took issue over how the concerns were raised. He said, "I'm of the view that if counsel has a specific person who she had an interaction with, then we could treat with it. But to continue this line of concern respectfully really is a distraction. Your lordship has reminded all of the restriction on photos being taken of the accused men." The prosecutor said he's of the view that sufficient warning has been given to all parties concerned. Harris rejected that suggestion, telling the court she found it very creative for the prosecution to describe the issue as a distraction. She maintained that she personally observed police personnel with camera equipment pointed toward the accused as they were being escorted to a truck. She said, "I can't say if the cameras were working or if the images were captured. What I can say is that I saw the cameras pointing to the men when they were coming out." Harris also raised concern about a 15-minute gap in the footage shown to the defense, questioning what occurred during that period. She further argued that despite the stated purpose of filming the SWAT team, she saw no such footage. Presiding Judge Dale Palmer questioned whether the matter had been sufficiently ventilated, noting that it had been ongoing since it was first raised the previous week. "We have seen what has been produced," he said, adding that the court needed to determine how much further the issue should be pursued. He added, "I've given my orders already. It is clearly unequivocal. No photos or videos are to be taken of anyone involved in the case." Harris responded that she was placing the matter in the court's hands but would seek further instructions from her clients. Justice Palmer reiterated that even if any images were inadvertently captured, they must not be reproduced or shared. The matter continues on Wednesday morning at 10 o'clock. Robian Williams for Nationwide News.
And that's it for the local segment of the news. Up next, regional and international.
It's This Morning on Nationwide 90 FM. The time is
6:17.
The following earthquake tip is brought to you by the Real Estate Board. Regularly inspect for vulnerabilities. Even if you're not planning to build or remodel, regularly inspect your home for any structural vulnerabilities, like cracks in the foundation or walls. Early detection can help you make necessary improvements before an earthquake occurs. The preceding earthquake tip was brought to you by the Real Estate Board. Telephone 876-926-9748.
The regional and international news roundup is brought to you by Hanes Underwear. Cool, comfortable clothing all day long.
In regional and international news this morning, regional news, hundreds of Trinidad and Tobago nationals who traveled to the United Kingdom and applied for asylum have been sent back home. That's according to the country's Minister of Foreign and CARICOM Affairs, Sean Sobers. Speaking to the Trinidad Express, Minister Sobers says between 90 and 97% of the more than 700 Trinidadians who had sought asylum had been returned to TNT in the last couple of months. In March last year, the UK government announced that all Trinidadians would require a visa to enter the UK, including for short visits. The decision came in response to what the UK government described as a significant increase in nationals arriving as visitors and then claiming asylum. Between 2023 and 2024, there were 797 asylum applications in the UK from Trinidad and Tobago nationals. International health chiefs in the UK have said an outbreak of meningitis that has killed a university student and a sixth former is unprecedented. The number of confirmed cases of invasive meningitis in the Canterbury area stands at 15, with a targeted vaccination program announced at the University of Kent. 2 people have died, a 21-year-old university student and Juliet, a sixth form pupil at Queen Elizabeth's Grammar School. Susan Hopkins, the chief executive of the UK Health Security Agency, said there was an explosive nature to the outbreak. This while the Deputy Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Thomas Waite, said it was the quickest growing outbreak he had seen in his career. Earlier, the Health Secretary described it as an unprecedented outbreak and a rapidly developing situation. Hopkins said it looked as though there had been a super spreader event, with the outbreak ongoing within university halls of residences where there would have been parties and social mixing. She said she could not yet confirm where the initial infection came from. And that's it for regional and international. Up next, sports.
The regional and international news roundup was brought to you by Hanes Underwear. Cool, comfortable clothing all day long.
Morning after morning, you've made Nationwide 90 FM part of your routine. So let's take this connection one step closer. Join the Nationwide 90 FM Family Club and be part of it officially on Patreon.
Family.
Remember the first time, the first glance, the first touch. This Easter weekend, rediscover that feeling at Couples Resorts. Escape to a couples-only all-inclusive paradise with gourmet dine-in, premium cocktails, and unforgettable ocean views, all included. Jamaican residents can celebrate your Easter escape with exclusive rates from $405 USD per night, valid through April 30th. Visit couples.com/residents. Couples Resorts, like the first time, every time.
The heart of Jamaica moves to a beat. This year, it's the same heartbeat of community, guiding hands with the sound of resilience. To rebuild, that same slice is now wrapped in a different story for a community in need. Taste the cheese, taste the beat of Jamaica.
Time now for your morning sports. Jamaica's under-17 women's football team endured a poor start to their final round campaign in the 2026 CONCACAF Women's Under-17 qualifiers on Tuesday, suffering a heavy 9-0 defeat to Mexico in Costa Rica. Mexico asserted their dominance from the opening whistle, showcasing clinical finishing and fluid attacking play that overwhelmed the young Reggae girls throughout the contest. Forward Citlali Reyes led the charge with a brilliant hat-trick, while Mia Urbano matched the feat with 3 goals of her own. The result continues Mexico's strong historical record against Jamaica at this level. In their 5 meetings, Mexico has now secured 4 wins, with the other encounter ending in a draw. Jamaica will now look to quickly regroup as they prepare for the next match against Costa Rica on March 19. The last four quarter-finalists in the European Champions League are being decided later on Wednesday, with the second leg of the round of 16 ties across the continent. Atletico Madrid head to London with a healthy 5-2 lead over Tottenham Hotspur. Atalanta are in Germany facing Bayern Munich, who won the first leg 6-1. Liverpool are at Anfield with a 1-0 first leg deficit against Galatasaray, while Newcastle and Barcelona clash at the Nou Camp with all to play for in a tie that's locked up at 1 apiece. Finally, in your morning sports, Jamaica will be hunting a long-awaited breakthrough in the men's 60 meters when sprint stars Akeem Blake, Shane Thompson and Brian Lavelle line up at the World Indoor Championships Poland 26. Despite its global dominance in sprinting, Jamaica has never claimed a men's 60-meter gold medal. The nation's best results remain a silver medal finish from Nesta Carter in 2012 and another from Asafa Powell in 2016. All eyes will be on Thompson, who enters the competition as one of the favorites to top the podium. The world and Olympic 100-meter silver medalist has signaled his readiness with an impressive early season performance, clocking an outdoor personal best of 6.46 seconds at the Gibson McCook Relays. In that race, he finished ahead of both Lavelle and Blake, underlining his strong form heading into the championships. However, Blake is not to be overlooked. The powerful starter secured a third-place finish at the 2024 edition of the championships and will be eager to climb higher on the podium this time around. Meanwhile, Lavelle remains a consistent contender, capable of challenging the field on his day. The Jamaicans will face stiff competition, particularly from defending champion Jeremiah Azu. Azu, who captured the title in Nanjing last year, has strengthened his case for back-to-back gold medals after lowering his personal best to 6.47 seconds. And that's it for your morning sports.
For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies including plugs, switches, panel boards and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10 or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
In business this morning, British holiday makers are rebooking Easter trips away from Dubai due to the war in neighboring Iran. Travel firms have told the BBC that this is causing a spike in demand for reassuring destinations. There is a mass disruption to passenger flights across the Middle East and warnings not to travel to large parts of the region or the United Arab Emirates. Travel firms said this has sparked a sharp slowdown in holiday bookings there, as well as countries close to Iran such as Turkey, Cyprus and Egypt. Meanwhile, bookings are up in Portugal, Italy and Spain, as well as the Caribbean, Mauritius and the US, as some airports report flights filling up faster than last year. On Tuesday, BA suspended some Middle East routes until June due to the continuing uncertainty of the situation in the Middle East and airspace instability. The airline said it had temporarily cancelled flights to Dubai, Bahrain, Tel Aviv and Amman in Jordan up to and including May 31. Now, India could soon get a lot thinner, at least in theory. On Friday, the patent on semaglutide, the molecule behind Danish drug maker Novo Nordisk's blockbuster weight loss drugs Wegovy and Ozempic, expires in the country. This will allow domestic pharmaceutical companies to release cheaper copies or generics, triggering a rush of competition that could slash prices by more than half and rapidly expand access for people in India and eventually in other countries too. Investment bank Jefferies has called it a potential magic pill moment for India, predicting the semaglutide market could eventually reach $1 billion domestically with the right pricing and uptake. Analysts expect around 50 branded semaglutide generics to enter the market within months, a familiar pattern in India's fiercely competitive pharmaceutical industry. When the diabetes drug sitagliptin went off patent in 2022, about 30 branded versions appeared within a month and nearly 100 within a year. In foreign exchange trading, the Jamaican dollar has lost 15 cents and will open against the benchmark US dollar, selling for an average $158.38. Against the Canadian, the Jamaican has gained 22 cents and will open selling for an average $114.96. And finally, the Jamaican has gained 13 cents and will begin trading for an average $210.50 against the British pound. That's it for business this morning.
The National Land Agency helps landowners register land through its systematic land registration program. The time by the NLA is
6:30.
Need to make a change to your title or need a title? GeoLand Title Limited is the place to be. They do lost title application, add and remove names from titles, wills, estates, first-time registration, land surveys included, affordable rates and flexible payment options. National Land Agency adjudication and land titling waivers available. They have 8 locations island-wide. Call 876-754-6436 or visit their website at geolandonline.com. GeoLand Title Limited. Secure your land, secure your title.
Over a month ago, we invited you to be a part of something special, something different. And you know what? Over 500 of you said, all right, we're in. That means over 500 of you decided to move from just being a listener to being a part of the family. The Nationwide Family Club isn't just an idea anymore. It's real, it's growing, and it feels good.
And because family looks out for family, for the entire month of March, we're doing something extra. Every single week, one family club member will win a $25,000 supermarket voucher. That's 4 winners, 4 weeks, 4 real chances. Because when you stick with us, we believe you should feel it. Loyalty shouldn't just be appreciated, it should feel rewarded.
The Nationwide Family Club is where you, our listeners, come closer. Not just hearing the stories, but seeing how they're made. Not just listening to the voices, but connecting with the people behind them. In the Family Club, you get early access to documentaries, exclusive content on air, member-only conversations, birthday shout-outs, breaking news alerts, and depending on your tier, studio experiences and private live streams. That's not just regular radio, that's family access.
This isn't just a subscription, it's connection, it's community, it's saying, I support what you do, and I want to be closer to it. More content, more interactions, more behind the scenes, and now, more chances to win.
And if you've been watching from the sidelines, we've been saving a seat for you. Join today, be a part of the first 1,000 family members, and this March, you could be one of 4 people walking away with a $25,000 supermarket voucher. Go to patreon.com/Nationwide News Network, the Nationwide Family Club, closer than radio, stronger than ever, and growing with you, our family.
Father, watch in Zion,
Hear our voice, O Jah, today in our prayer, and accept our thanksgiving. Father, we thank Thee for all that You have done and for what You're doing now. Oh, yeah, yeah. The Lord is thy shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He restoreth my soul. Splashing, dashing, restless sea. Never still You seem to be. Sometimes angry, sometimes sad. Sometimes a lover though You're glad. Splashing, dashing, restless sea. Never still You seem to be. Sometimes angry, sometimes sad. Sometimes a lover though You're glad. Little children love You well. Love all the wondrous tales You tell. Love to watch You come and go in the tides that heaven blow. Yet though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, 'cause Jah is with me. Thy rod and Thy staff, they comfort me. Splashing, dashing, restless sea. Never still You seem to be. Sometimes angry, sometimes sad. Sometimes a lover though You're glad. Splashing, dashing, restless sea. Never still You seem to be. Sometimes angry, sometimes sad. Sometimes a lover though You're glad. Little children love You well. Love all the wondrous tales You tell. Love to watch You come and go in the tides that heaven blow. Though so strong and great You are, stretching here I answer to our cry. Yeah, yeah. Bless me, mighty Jah, bless me, so that they can curse me, bless me.
Good morning, good morning,
mighty
good
Jah,
morning. Welcome to Nationwide This Morning, NTM. Thank you so much for coming on over and joining us this Wednesday morning. It is Wednesday, March 18, 2026. I'm Tawna Thomas.
Good morning, Tawna. Good morning, listeners. Good morning, viewers. My name is George.
Good morning.
What up?
I'm here.
You're here.
The sky is out.
Yeah, you know, we were talking off here about the online spat involving Buju Banton, Wayne Wonder's wife, and a global audience. And boy, you know, I tell my few real brethren them say, boy, if things go bad and we have major differences, may I beg you, no, do this. Let's not. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
So, because nobody wins. Why? It's sad. It's very sad.
And there are ways to address things, and there are ways not to address things. Yeah.
And you've made history together. You've written some of the greatest songs in reggae music, and you have differences, and this is how you do it. Why? Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, this morning, listeners, it's time to talk about the opposition leader and his contribution to the budget debate on Tuesday. And nobody watching the presentation on Tuesday could fault Mark Jefferson Golding on the energy front. He was plugged into a secure power source, and I felt he maintained a high voltage throughout. And it is noteworthy because there have been speeches from him in the past which have not been high voltage in the same platform. So for him to have started energetic and finished that way without at any time being enervated, it's a credit to him. So that's one. Two, the framework of his presentation. You can see he really put a lot of thought into the approach. And again, it's noteworthy because there have been speeches in the past where it was as if, he turned up and made a speech rather than planned the presentation. So on Tuesday, the dealing with internal matters, talking about how close the PNP came to victory. There are many things to say about what he said, but it's not necessary to critique what he says about the PNP's performance in an election situation. When people lose elections, they always see the bright side. Even though PNP didn't contest the election to win 100,000 more votes. They contested to win the election, and they didn't do that. We all know that. But him putting in context the PNP's performance was good to energize PNP supporters and to give his army of MPs with him on the opposition benches something to cheer and to give him strength, as we see in the streets in Jamaica. So I thought that was good to start with, talking about unity in the party and, certain radio station. There's hardly a PNP set-piece speech without a mention of Nationwide these days. And we all know who they were talking about, that's fine. Saying that it's unified and everything, putting on a united front. And the framework extended from that to the situation facing the country. He said the triple threat of Melissa, global oil prices, and just, conditions attendant to growing an economy. He looked at prescriptions. Some he went deep into. He used visual props, and he tried. It was a speech that caused our news to go late, and it's the opposition leader, so you don't cut the opposition leader's presentation for your newscast, even though your newscast is sponsored and there are people who want their obligations and their entitlements, but it has to wait because it's the opposition leader, and his presentation must be heard, and heard in full. I don't know who came up with the phrase, the devil is in the details. I need to research that later. But there's always devilry in the details. I would say that Mr. Golding's point about gas being more expensive than water, maybe it would have gone down better if it was meant as a joke, because I can't see how water, which is available everywhere to most people, accessible to most people. You turn on your tap, you get water. Bottled water is a luxury. Bottled water is something you choose to buy because I've never heard anybody say the NWC's water is not fit for consumption. Yeah? So to compare 2 bottles of water to a liter of gas and say water is more expensive than gas, I struggle to see the sense in the point. So with that visual prop, Mr. Golding bled some points on that, because I thought that was not the point to make, because it was a rather silly point and not in keeping with Golding's cerebral abilities. Beyond that, when you looked at the content of what he said, much of what he said was adumbrated in the PNP's Jamaica Love Manifesto, which they sought to win office with in 2025. And being so close to the election, was only September last year now. The campaign climaxed on September 3 with the election results. So you can't criticize him for bringing themes and approaches outlined in that manifesto to the budget presentation at this time, because these things are still fresh. And what he's effectively saying is that this is what we wanted to win office with. Now that he's out of office, well, now that he didn't win office, he's saying, well, these prescriptions would still be better than what the government is implementing at this time. You can look at that how you may. I'm not criticizing that carte blanche. I'm just putting in context that for those who will criticize it for that, look at the proximity between now and the election campaign passed, and then look at what he was saying that he would do for Jamaica. He brought that back in the budget debate, and I think that was a smart thing to do in context. I say in context because I don't understand some of the details presented from the perspective of, you said multiple times in the speech that the country had shed 50% of GDP based on the damage caused by Melissa. And yet your prescriptions were almost business as usual. Remember, when you crafted that Jamaica Love Manifesto, there wasn't the fallout from a Melissa to contend with. And by lifting much of Jamaica Love into the budget presentation, it was as if Melissa never happened, even though you say Melissa caused damage. So the speaking one way and the reality being the other way, it didn't connect for me. And I think that a chance was missed to adapt some of what was promised to the country, set out to the country in election campaign, for the realities of now to make that connection. There were times in the speech where Mr. Golding grabbed my attention and then he failed to tie up the point. For instance, remittances. He positioned the remittances argument as if the PNP had an alternative to our historic dependence on remittance. But then he didn't tie up the point at all. In fact, the last sentence under the remittance heading, I was wondering what I was reading, because it was just totally different from the build-up to the argument. Because again, everything he said did suggest that he was warning us about an over-reliance on remittance, and that under his plan, under a PNP administration, there would be a credible alternative. He said that, remittances, there are medium to long-term risks. Of course, there's always been, as long as there are remittances, there will always be medium to long-term risks to remittances coming from abroad. That's a fact. So it's like saying the sky is blue sometimes, and like if you look up, you will see the sky. It's obvious. So I wasn't expecting the bleeding obvious from him on that point. I was expecting him, based on how he positioned the point, to then offer an alternative to this dependence on remittances. It never came. National security. I think that the remittances point, the national security point, were points that he put in just to hedge against criticism that he didn't include these things in his speech. Because his approach to national security, sustainable national security, was to call for body-worn cameras, which have already been deployed. The JCF issued a statement several weeks ago talking about taking delivery of 1,000 odd body cameras and deploying them. And anybody who drives around Jamaica can hold up their hand and say, miss, I saw a policeman. I've seen a policeman, at least one with a body-worn camera. I've seen a policeman with a body-worn camera. They are being deployed. So I don't know how Mr. Golding's call for, or his contribution to the national security situation is to call for something that is in implementation. It shows a disconnect, and it didn't reflect well. On the issue of roads, he said, look, under a PNP administration, each division gets 15 million to do localized road work administered by the local authority. I thought that was a plus point. And he says an additional 5 million will be provided given the availability of resources and given the need. So that was something that is different from what is happening now, and which marks, okay, so under a PNP administration, at least these resources will be made available to the local authorities, who always talk about not having direct control of the resources themselves to do the work that is necessary. 15 million in a division, I mean, would you give the Waterloo division in Northeast in Andrew the same 15 million as you would give one of the divisions in Southeast Clarendon or somewhere where the road them never get a lick of marl in their life? I don't know. So, but that's what he said. He said, give each 15 million. So I'm taking him at his word. Then you're going to have the argument of allocation based on need. But, that's a later consideration. But at least that's on the table. I gave that as a plus point. On the issue of workers' rights, this is where I felt let down yesterday, significantly by Mr. Golding. We all know the PNP's relationship with Cuba. And we all know that party's staunch support for Cuban regimes over time, and the Cuban people in general, and with good reason. The Cubans have been very good to us. But as was revealed here in that document from
Cuba Archive.
Cuba Archive. Yeah? Thank you, Tona. The Cubans were working under conditions of servitude, which is why I said to myself, how could Mr. Golding, in his budget contribution, speak about workers' rights with the passion he did, while ignoring that the Cuban arrangement, which he criticized the government for ending unilaterally, Here's what Golding said about our workers. He said, the abuse of contract worker arrangements has become a matter of national shame. Workers in some industries are employed for years, sometimes decades, on repeating short-term contracts that deny them the benefits and protections afforded to permanent employees. This undermines the family's long-term security and weakens social cohesion in our society. It must end. You seem happy to leave things as they are. He was talking to the Prime Minister, the government. We would not do so. We would ensure that genuine workers receive genuine rights regardless of the legal form of their contracts. We would be passing comprehensive legislation to eliminate these abusive contractual arrangements. That is building back better than before. Jamaica needs to promote productivity as a cornerstone of a strong economy. If you work extra hard, you should keep what you earn. What are you doing to incentivize greater national productivity? So why is it that Jamaicans who work hard must keep what they earn, but the Cubans who work under the Cuban medical program must have their wages sent to the Cuban government? And you're satisfied with that? And remember, since those revelations from Cuba Archive, not a single soul has said that it is a wrong conclusion that the Cuban workers have had their pay taken, all of it, and sent back to their government. Even the government here, the Wellness Administration, has admitted that that's what they found in the contracts. So I'm saying this morning, I understand the PNP's historic relationship with Cuba. And I understand that the party must speak in support of Cuba. Perhaps it is part of the doctrine that no matter what, PNP must support Cuba. All right, fine. But how could you hug up that arrangement which had the Cuban people working here in servitude, modern day slavery, and then at the same time you twist your tongue and say that the Jamaican government must do right by workers' rights because workers have a right to keep all of what they earn? You let me down there. Beyond that, sustainment, the Clean Slate program. Golding said thousands of Jamaicans are trapped in a cycle of debt that prevents them from moving forward. They owe property taxes, traffic tickets, water bills, and student loans. Interest and penalties have often grown larger than the original debt. They cannot see a way out. We should offer them the chance for a clean slate by forgiving the interest and the charges, the penalties. How? Free money again? I mean, how many thousand Jamaicans would you do this for? This is something that you should have nailed out to give the details on, because you're promising Jamaicans a clean slate. I mean, time does not allow. Jermaine is playing his theme music already. But there are so many little things that he started that grabbed you. And then as you're waiting for the details to come, and it never came. So I gave him a plus for energy. Yeah, and he maintained that. And there were aspects of it that were positive. What they're doing for older people and the comprehensive national health service, that's commendable. For roads, that's commendable. But there are so many things that left us wanting more and left us wanting a man of Golding's caliber to just nail down the point. And he never have no nail yesterday in many aspects of the presentation.
It's This Morning on Nationwide 90 FM. The time is
6:52.
JPS and Partners Cooperative Credit Union offers financial solutions for every stage in your life: savings, auto loans, mortgages, and more. The temperature by JPS and Partners Cooperative Credit Union, your financial partner for life, is
26 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 24 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 20 degrees Celsius in Mandeville.
From the biggest tracks to the biggest energy, Nationwide keeps it moving. If you love the vibes, come and lock in with us for real.
World boss, if a prison could stop me.
Join the Nationwide 90 FM Family Club today on Patreon.
Practice. God, me say you watch you of me practice.
The Jamaica Customs Agency is ready and set to go to Montego Bay, St. James. This Friday, March 24, Customs meets the community. The Town of the Community Tour edition. Join us at our first stop, Witter Village, at 9:30 a.m. Then on Barnett Street at Consumers Meets Plus. Catch us at Fairview Town Center beside Progressive Foods. And afterwards, the grand finale is at 3 p.m. in Sam Shop Square. Come, get lots of information registration and enjoy the entertainment and leave with prizes and giveaways. That's Customs Meets the Community this Friday, March 20 in St. James as Montego Bay comes back alive.
Time now for Street Smarts 1 with Ludlow McLean. Good morning, Ludlow.
George and Tona and listeners, also a quick update as to what is happening in the Kingston 7 area and 6. So if you're coming from Ellison Flat and you're on the Sir John Golden Road there, that takes you to Market Road, Old Market Road, into the Papine Square area. You're going to find that it's quite active, especially the entrance to the university campus. In both directions, you see another, the traffic signal is there, so you're going to find it busy. As in the Papine Square, it's also busy. Going on Olive Road, it's flowing, but it's a heavy flow of traffic going down into Ligony. It's our first report for the morning. I come back at about 7:20. It's back to you, George.
Thank you, Lord Lolo. There with us. Quick Street Smarts. One up next. Word of the day.
Word of the day, spelled P-E-R-I-C-O-P-E, spelled P-E-R-I-C-O-P-E.
Pericope. Pericope. Pericope.
Pericope is your word of the day, a noun, and it means a selection or extract from a book first recorded between 1650 and 1660. Pericope, P-E-R-I-C-O-P-E, a selection or extract from a book. Up next are features at the top of the hour, the news.
Did you know there are some diseases that your pets can pass on to you? Today in Pets World, we'll be looking at how both you and your dogs can be affected by hookworms. Hookworms, by nature, are intestinal parasites that live in your dog's digestive system. The hookworm would attach itself to the lining of your dog's intestinal wall and feed on their blood. Once fully matured, the hookworm will lay eggs that are then passed on to the environment through your dog's feces. But you may ask, how does your dog become infected to begin with? Well, young hookworms or larvae hatched from eggs that live in the soil. These larvae infect your dog by penetrating their skin or by your dog ingesting the larvae when licking themselves. Hookworms are a serious threat to dogs because they suck blood and can cause internal blood loss. Young puppies usually do not survive the blood loss caused by being infected with a hookworm without getting a blood transfusion. Older dogs may display symptoms of diarrhea and show signs of weight loss. To prevent your dogs being infected with a hookworm, take them to the veterinarian to be given deworming medication. Puppies should be treated for hookworms at 2, 4, 6, and 8 weeks of age. This frequent treatment schedule is recommended due to the very high rate of hookworm infection in puppies. Fecal examinations should be done 2 to 4 times during the first year of your dog's life and 1 to 2 times per year in older dogs. Nursing dogs should be treated along with their puppies. But did you know, as the pet owner, you also run the risk of becoming infected by hookworms? You can become infected if the hookworm larvae from contaminated soil penetrates your skin. This will most likely occur if you walk barefooted on the beach, the garden, or other areas where dogs may defecate. The infection may result in an itching sensation at the point where the larvae enters the skin. The condition is easily treated, but can cause mild to extreme discomfort in the affected person. Similar to steps for prevention of other intestinal parasites, it is essential to keep your dog's surroundings clean and prevent the dog from being in contaminated areas. If you think your dog is infected with hookworms, call your veterinarian to schedule an appointment for evaluation, diagnosis, and safe, effective treatment. That's all for Pets World. Until next time.
Fearless and fair, Nationwide 90 FM.
The little habits that we practice on a daily basis, and they add up to an important total or whole picture. This is Lifestyle Pages on Good Manners. This is the total picture that you present to the world to tell them about what kind of person you are. Your behavior should not differ from that of your family and friends and change towards strangers. When you go shopping or to a restaurant, do you treat the salesperson or waiter like a piece of furniture? Or do you treat him or her as a human being who is entitled to the same courtesy and consideration you expect for yourself? Rudeness always involves a loss of dignity. But it is our dignity that is lost, not the dignity of those on whom you inflict your rudeness. A mannerly person would never retaliate by being equally rude. I am Valerie, and those were your lifestyle pages.
Nationwide 90 FM, continuing the tradition of fair, fearless, and factual reporting.
Jamaica, let's make road safety a priority. Slow down, stay focused. Remember, every life matters. The time brought to you by the JIS is...
News time, 7 o'clock.
From the ground up, let's rebuild stronger, safer, better than before. National Supply, powering Jamaica's comeback. The temperature by National Supply is...
26 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 24 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 20 degrees Celsius in Mandeville.
The most credible news in the morning. The news at 7 on Nationwide 90 FM.
Coming up in the news at 7 today, Wednesday, March 18, 2026, Opposition Leader Mark Golding says government's plan for a digital tax will hinder rather than help local businesses. And the opposition leader says though resources are scarce, the allocation under the ROOFs program is inadequate. Tension flared between defense and the prosecution in the Klansman gang trial over the alleged recording of the accused while they were being shuttled to court. And in international news, more deaths reported as the UK tries to contain an outbreak of meningitis.
If it's news, it's got to be Nationwide 90 FM.
Now to the details. Opposition Leader Mark Golding says the government's plan to tax digital services will hinder rather than help local businesses. He made that argument during his contribution to the budget debate in Gordon House on Tuesday.
The minister spread confusion and muddied the waters by seeking to justify this new tax as protecting local retailers. How can imposing GCT on digital services help local retailers? It is policy incoherence.
The tax on digital services is expected to generate $300 million in the upcoming fiscal year, with an additional $4 billion in the 2027-28 fiscal year. During her budget presentation last Tuesday, the finance minister announced that the tax is meant to address an unfair reality where local businesses carry the tax load while many online business platforms avoid the burden. She noted that local retail businesses are slowly going out of business as many Jamaicans turn to online services which often fall outside the country's tax system. Golding says the implementation of the digital tax lacks clarity.
In 2024, their government already provided an incentive for imported goods that are purchased online. They doubled the customs duty threshold from $50 US to $100 US. So they're moving in two competing directions. But the truth of the matter is that if it's a digital services tax on intangibles, it really has no impact on retailers.
Mark Golding, opposition leader. Meanwhile, Golding has proposed a $1 billion fund for young Jamaicans to establish technology-based businesses.
Madam Speaker, our young people in this country have ideas, they have energy, they have talent, they need capital, they need mentorship. What are you doing about this? I don't see nothing, way too little. We would have established a revolving $1 billion National Youth Innovation Fund to support youth-led tech and creative startups, empowering our youth to innovate and lead. That would be building back better. You must do something for the young people.
And Golding says the government's restoration of owner or occupant family shelters roofs program is a mere drop in the bucket against the scale of damage to houses impacted by Hurricane Melissa.
The government's housing repair program, roofs, is less than 1/3 of 1% of GDP. The PIOJ says the damage to Jamaica is 56% of GDP. A $500,000 grant, Jamaican, to households rendered homeless by the storm. It is welcome. but it's also clearly inadequate to rebuild homes. The same is true for the households that suffered major damage and are receiving $200,000 grants towards their repairs and the $75,000 grants for those who suffered relatively minor damage. All of that money is welcome, no doubt, but clearly it is insufficient to repair the major damage to the housing stock in Western Jamaica in particular.
The Roofs program was launched in January this year. It aims to assist homeowners to repair homes and roofs damaged during Hurricane Melissa's passage. Grants range from $75,000 to $500,000. The government says over $5 billion in grants have been dispersed under the program since inception, but Golding says the program does not facilitate sustainability or resilience.
The Roofs program also appears to ignore the element of resilience in its design, merely handing out grants of amounts which are manifestly insufficient to cover the cost of adequate repairs, guarantees that households resort to the least cost approaches to effecting those repairs because the money is enough, so they have to make it stretch. This is clearly short-sighted, Madam Speaker, as Jamaicans should be using construction materials and techniques that will make their homes more resilient to future climate disasters than they were before.
And Golding says that the government should have made replacement provisions for the Cuban medical partnership.
Prime Minister, you operate in fora, which I don't. So there may be things that you're aware of that I am not. But before you make a move like that, you have to put other things in place. You can't terminate an agreement that the Jamaican people are relying on and have nothing in place and be scrambling around while people are suffering. Again, poor government, mismanagement. For the record, we in this House, and I believe on both sides, thank the government and people of Cuba for their 50 years of valuable and selfless service to the Jamaican people, and we join with other Jamaicans who regard this so-called principled realism as an act really of a response to external pressure in a way that has been at the expense of the Jamaican people.
Golding says the Holness administration's reason for cancelling the program is unconvincing.
The foreign minister, having told Parliament that this decision had nothing to do with pressure from the US, that is what she said in this Parliament, that decision had nothing to do with pressure from the US. A few days later, had her ministry subsequently issue a statement affirming that it is widely known, in quotes, that the US has publicly raised concerns with the program, before articulating what I regard as unconvincing reasons as the purported justification for terminating a program that has done so much to help Jamaicans to have access to quality health services, and the termination of which has left a very substantial unfilled gap in healthcare delivery, especially in underserved areas.
Mark Golding, opposition leader. Scores of Jamaicans marched along Heroes Circle in Kingston on Tuesday in a public show of solidarity with the healthcare professionals who worked under the Cuban medical program. The peaceful march saw participants dressed in white t-shirts displaying both the Jamaican and the Cuban flags side by side. They chanted, "God bless Cuba," "Thank you Cuba," and "Bring back Cuba." Organizer Michael Ennis says it was important to make the public gesture.
The walk of Jamaicans showing gratitude and appreciation for the Cuban medical workers who are about to leave. Our objective was to have it publicized in a manner that the Cubans would know that Jamaicans are doing this or showing their gratitude. We had, I think, close to 300 persons walk from Sutton Street and Hanover Street up to Heroes Circle.
Michael Ennis, organizer of the Cuban-Jamaican Walk of Gratitude. The Holness administration announced the end of the 50-year-old Cuban medical program earlier in March. It cited failure to agree to terms with its Cuban counterpart as the reason for the discontinuation. Documents obtained by Nationwide News revealed that the Cuban professionals had been working under conditions of servitude, with their salaries being turned over to the Cuban government by its Jamaican counterpart. Economist Keenan Faulkner says removing general consumption tax on water could encourage healthier living. Faulkner offered the reaction to Mark Golding's contribution to the budget debate while he was speaking on Nationwide at 5 on Tuesday.
If you really want to change behavior, then you can use tax policy in a way that can encourage healthier habits, and removing taxes maybe on healthier foods maybe one way that you can do that, or taxing heavily foods that are bad for you. So it's just the reverse, I think, of what the minister might have proposed.
Opposition leader Mark Golding proposed the GCT removal on water during his presentation on Tuesday. He made the comment as he criticized the government's imposition of a special consumption tax, SCT, on non-alcoholic sugary drinks. Faulkner says the tax is at odds with a desire to change consumption habits.
Well, I think that has to be looked at in the context of disincentivizing bad behavior or trying to incentivize good behavior. On a whole, when you look at the tax package and the revenue that it is expected to yield, you see that a lot of it is on what are supposed to be relatively inelastic goods that you demand and that you consume. So if the revenue projections indicate that you're going to get a certain amount of money from this, then it means that habits have not changed. So you still demand the same amounts, you still intend to consume it in the same proportion. So it is really a revenue collection device.
Meanwhile, former president of the MSME Alliance, Donovan Wignall, says he understands the need for a tax package given the fallout caused by Hurricane Melissa.
But when you look at what Melissa has done to the country, what the geopolitical tensions in the Middle East is going to be doing to the country, apart from the additional revenue that you'll get from the bump in SCT because of the increase in the cost of fuel coming in, a lot of other things are going to present real challenges to the government to collect the revenue. And to answer your question, can we give up revenue? No, in the face of everything that we face. And the answer is just, sadly, no, we can't.
So you put that as not feasible, aspirational as you put it?
Aspirational but not feasible. I think at the end of the day, the government has to get every bit of revenue that it can, and the tax package presented is the lesser of two evils, I think.
Donovan Wignall, former president of the MSME Alliance. Tension flared in the Klansman gang trial on Tuesday as prosecutors and the defense attorneys clashed over video footage of the accused recorded while they were being taken to court. Last Wednesday, the defense raised concerns that police personnel may have photographed or filmed the accused men. Those photographs and videos were taken to court. 25 accused, including the alleged gang leader Tesha Miller, are before the court charged under the anti-gang legislation. Robian Williams reports.
The court was informed that the footage was recorded by the Jamaica Constabulary Force, Constabulary Communications Network, CCN, as part of a feature on the SWAT team present at court. On Tuesday, the prosecutor told the court that all material brought by the police team was shown to defense counsel and that none of the footage or images contained any of the accused men. He said a request was made for specific time frame and details of the alleged interaction raised by defense attorney Tamika Harris, but that information had not been provided. The court also heard that the footage was not continuous, resulting in gaps in timestamps. The prosecutor reiterated that the purpose of the CCN team's presence was to capture footage of the SWAT team in operation, but said he had since instructed that the team discontinue filming at the location. He said, "I'm a cautious man, and whilst the JCF CCN team can remain, I don't want them to be here. I do not want any distractions. I informed them that they can take their feature elsewhere." The prosecutor took issue over how the concerns were raised. He said, "I'm of the view that if counsel has a specific person who she had an interaction with, then we could treat with it. But to continue this line of concern respectfully really is a distraction. Your lordship has reminded all of the restriction on photos being taken of the accused men." The prosecutor said he's of the view that sufficient warning has been given to all parties concerned. Harris rejected that suggestion, telling the court she found it very creative for the prosecution to describe the issue as a distraction. She maintained that she personally observed police personnel with camera equipment pointed toward the accused as they were being escorted to a truck. She said, "I can't say if the cameras were working or if the images were captured. What I can say is that I saw the cameras pointing to the men when they were coming out." Harris also raised concern about a 15-minute gap in the footage shown to the defense, questioning what occurred during that period. She further argued that despite the stated purpose of filming the SWAT team, she saw no such footage. Presiding Judge Dale Palmer questioned whether the matter had been sufficiently ventilated, noting that it had been ongoing since it was first raised the previous week. "We have seen what has been produced," he said, adding that the court needed to determine how much further the issue should be pursued. He added, I've given my orders already. It is clearly unequivocal. No photos or videos are to be taken of anyone involved in the case. Harris responded that she was placing the matter in the court's hands but would seek further instructions from her clients. Justice Palmer reiterated that even if any images were inadvertently captured, they must not be reproduced or shared. The matter continues on Wednesday morning at 10 o'clock. Robianne Williams for Nationwide News.
Thank you, Robianne. Education Minister Dr. Diana Morris-Dixon is cautioning educators against relying too heavily on artificial intelligence AI tools. Minister Morris-Dixon gave the warning on Tuesday while speaking at the opening ceremony of CXC's Regional Education Conference and Ministerial Forum at the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel in New Kingston. Mahiri Stewart has that story.
The conference is being held under the theme Navigating the Digital Age, Rethinking Teaching, Learning and Assessment. But while acknowledging the benefits of digital transformation and incorporation of artificial intelligence in her speech, Minister Morris-Dixon closed her message by urging educators to avoid over-reliance on AI tools.
And so as I close up my thoughts on AI, I also have to always talk about, how important it is, but how cautious we still have to be. I'm confident because I know and I have seen from our use of AI in Jamaica already that it offers real opportunities. It can do a lot, but throughout it all, we also have to be cautious. AI does not remove the need for judgment. It does not remove the need for standards. So we must be on guard against over-reliance on this technology.
The minister says to achieve this, regional thought leaders must create systems that prevent AI from replacing critical thinking.
So the question we have is not whether AI will enter education, it's already here. The question is whether we, as leaders, have clear frameworks for its responsible use. Whether we will build digital literacy, not just digital exposure. Whether we will teach students to use powerful tools wisely, critically, and ethically. And that's why I want to talk to my colleague ministers, because you're in the same boat as I am in trying to figure this out and trying to get the ends we all want for our children.
For the first time in CXC's history, the Council administered a fully electronic and hybrid examination session for the January 2026 cycle. Minister Morris-Dixon called on CXC to lead the way in helping the sector develop the safe digital transformation of regional education.
So CXC, I believe you can be an important trendsetter here. And I think you can work with all of us to be bold and to develop big solutions. No one island territory can solve these challenges alone. We are small states, but we are not without insight, talent, or influence. We can create Caribbean solutions for Caribbean realities, and we've done it before, and I know we can do it again. Future of our region will be so shaped by what we invest in, as well as by what we expect from our education systems.
Mahiri Stewart for Nationwide News.
Overseas news now. Health chiefs in the United Kingdom say an outbreak of meningitis that has killed a university student and a sixth former is unprecedented. The number of confirmed cases of invasive meningitis in the Canterbury area stands at 15, with a targeted vaccination program announced at the University of Kent. 2 people have died, a 21-year-old university student and a sixth former at Queen Elizabeth's Grammar School in Faversham. Susan Hopkins, chief executive of the UK Health Security Agency, says it appeared as though there had been a super spreader event, with the outbreak ongoing within university halls of residence where there would have been parties and social mixing. She said she could not yet confirm the source of the initial infection. Deputy Chief Medical Officer Dr. Thomas Waite said it was the quickest growing outbreak he had seen in his career. And earlier, the UK's Health Secretary Wes Streeting described it as an unprecedented outbreak and a rapidly developing situation. That's the news.
Sign up for the JN Money Card. It's safe, convenient, and free. The time by JN Money is
7:18.
Rent or buy your hurricane supplies from Total Tools. Visit 102 Main Street, Oterius, 34 Slipe Road, Kingston 5, or Lot C6, Drax Hall, St. Anne's Bay. The temperature brought to you by Total Tools Jamaica is
27 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 25 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 22 degrees Celsius in Mandeville.
The Jamaica Customs Agency is ready and set to go to Montego Bay, St. James. This Friday, March 24, Customs meets the community. The Town of the Community Tour edition. Join us at our first stop, Witter Village at 9:30 a.m. Then on Barnett Street at Consumers Meets Plus. Catch us at Fairview Town Center beside Progressive Foods. And afterwards, the grand finale is at 3 p.m. in Sam Shop Square. Come, get lots of information and enjoy the entertainment and leave with prizes and giveaways. That's Customs Meets the Community this Friday, March 20 in St. James as Montego Bay comes back alive.
To the women who give to everyone else, this International Women's Day, gain the future you deserve with Sagicor. Get protection with Sagicor Life's Total Woman Critical Illness Insurance. 10% off and a gift from Advantage General Ultimate Woman Auto Insurance. Special mortgage and auto loan rates, plus 7,500 credit card bonus points with Sagicor Bank. Lower trading fees with Sagicor Investments. Call 888-SAGICOR to learn more. Conditions apply.
Time now for Street Smarts 2 with Ludlow McLean. Good morning, Ludlow. Good morning again.
Good morning. Good morning again, George. Good morning to our listeners, our visitors, our motoring public, and all our transport operators and stakeholders. Morning. Now the three major exit points out of Avondale. Roehampton is, I would say, the busiest. Roehampton close onto Mannington Road. You also have Border Avenue where you have some traffic coming from Border Avenue onto Mannington Road, and also Avondale Drive. But Avondale Drive is much freer as you make your way onto Mannington Road. But you also have traffic along Mannington Road going all the way to connect with Constant Spring Road. Constant Spring Road flowing steadily all the way until it peaks just after the vicinity of Mary Brown's Corner there going down. Now, if you're in the other areas like Manor Park going down to Oliver Road, Shorter Road, it's steady. But if you try and make it onto Arcadia Drive, it's going to be traffic because traffic is already on Barbican Road. So if you're also on Cranston Road, making it onto Barbican Road, there's traffic all the way around to Barbican Square. So Rough Lights is impacted because Rough Lights takes a lot of traffic onto Barbican Road. Likewise, Bird Sucker Lane and Arcadia Drive. So Barbican Square is quite active indeed. But there are gaps along East Kings House Road, but it really peaks as you get to East Kings House Road and Hope Road. Hope Road in both directions, quite active also, especially Hope and Arden Road, and Hope Road heading into Harper-Tree Square. Those are the busiest areas. The Harper-Tree Road, as usual, has a lot of traffic because Harper-Tree, yes, indeed, has a lot of traffic because the traffic is coming from South Odin Avenue, Constant Spring Road, and going further down to Harper-Tree. So it's a busy morning, and I would say most intersections are busy right now, but we still have some motorists who, try some unorthodox methods. They're in the wrong lane, and they block the intersections, and these habits, we hope, can be curtailed one day. So it's a fine morning and sunny, but let's hope it continues for the rest of the day. As usual, at Street Smart, your safety is our concern. So over to you, George.
Thank you, Ludlow. Ludlow there with Street Smarts 2. Up next, front page.
Front Page is brought to you today by ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business. For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies including plugs, switches, panel boards and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer, and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10, or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
Tona. What's you did? Which language you did at Hampton?
Spanish.
Up to grade 9? Or after that?
Grade 9.
Grade 9. All right. So you might not have learned this, but you're a bright girl, so I'm test you. What's front page in Spanish?
You don't want to know what I was going to say.
Well,
I'm going to make up something.
You're going to make up something. Like Elephant Man say. Front page.
Well, I was going exactly there.
You know, it's Página delantera.
Delantera.
Yeah, Página delantera.
So delantera is page.
No, page is Página. Delantera is front.
Okay.
Yeah, Página delantera. Remember, it goes the reverse way.
I was gonna say.
Yeah. No matter.
Fruto page.
Página delantera. Yeah, front page.
There
yeah?
you go.
There you go.
Welcome to, in English, the front page on Nationwide this morning. So, of course, we're getting reactions to the opposition leader, Mark Golding's budget presentation. The opposition leader says the PNP government would introduce a multi-year tax exemption initiative for new local businesses. He adds that those businesses would also benefit from a waiving of other costs.
Even government programs for MSME support that are announced and funded year after year have failed to have the desired impact. Their design failed to take the limited capacity of MSMEs into account. And so we don't have transformation. We don't have transition to a better economy. You must lower these costs and remove these barriers. That's your job. We would offer a 3-year tax holiday for businesses once they formalize their operation. We would provide discounted government registration, permit, and licensing fees for doing business throughout the same period for new businesses coming into the fold.
Golding says under the PNP, micro, small, and medium enterprises would benefit from 15% of government contracts.
This government, and every government, spends billions of dollars annually on goods and services. Small businesses should get their share. The law to allow this has been in place since 2019. We modernized the procurement system with the Public Procurement Act. Regulations took a long time to come after it. 2019 they came. Nothing has been done to make it happen. 7 years later, you're saying you want to do it now. Well, let's see. This cannot be just mere talk and more of the same. You should be proactive in pushing these arrangements to favor MSMEs. Earmark 15% of government contracts for MSMEs. Actively monitor that target to ensure that it happens.
Mark Golding, opposition leader. For reactions, we're being joined by President of the Jamaica Manufacturers and Exporters Association, Catherine Silvera, President of the MSME Alliance, Antoinette Hamilton, and veteran journalist and former Deputy Speaker of the House, Lloyd B. Smith. Good morning to you. Catherine, Antoinette, Lloyd.
Good morning. You're hearing me?
I'm hearing Antoinette.
Good
Are you
morning.
there, Catherine?
Good morning, everyone.
Great.
And
And
I'm here.
And you are here. Thank you so much for joining us here on Nationwide this morning. Let's begin with you, Catherine. What do you make of that suggestion by the opposition leader about that 3-year tax holiday for new businesses?
I think that it is a good suggestion. I think that we need to encourage our MSMEs to become formalized and enter the formal economy on a larger scale. I think that, as he went on to say about the procurement contracts, that there should be targets. We should also, if it is that the government implements something like that, that targets are also set and that there's a monitoring framework set up to ensure that the tax that the government is giving up to encourage these companies to become compliant and to become formalized, that it does end up supplying or allowing them to grow and therefore encourage more taxes once that 3-year has passed.
Mm-hmm. Were there any other highlights coming out of the opposition leader's presentation in relation to the business community that stood out to you?
I would say that, Mr. Golding expanded a little bit more on what the opposition spokesman on finance had presented, and that was an alternative to increasing taxes, and that was really widening the tax base by implementing a system that increases compliance and introducing more digital systems to have data integration, e-invoicing, And I think a lot of compliant businesses would welcome that by the government, because we certainly feel that we are the ones held to task because we are the ones paying over the taxes. We're paying our corporate income tax, our PAYE, and we see that there are other the informal sector is going by without paying over those taxes. So we would really encourage the government to widen the tax base.
Mm-hmm. And for you, Antoinette?
Well, certainly I agree with Catherine that was a salient point that was made in terms of the use of data mining and data linkages in the government system to increase tax compliance. I strongly support that position because I believe that if we can widen the tax base, tax rates, instead of going up, will decrease. Employees will see their payroll taxes going down, because if everybody is able to pay their fair share, it means that the government will be collecting more, and so there is an opportunity for taxes to actually go down and person can have more disposable income. So I am in full support of that. It was also something that, as part of the there was a presentation that TAJ did, and I did mention that data linkages and data mining is critical to compliance, and the government has the data. And I think he did demonstrate some areas that could be implemented in terms of, persons' permits, the customs, and just general, even the office of the registrar companies. So I think if the government do have the political will, we can see a much bigger tax pool, and the burden on the existing taxpayers can be reduced. I also do support the tax incentive. That was something that they had presented prior in their previous budget, and I truly believe that it is time that the government takes some bold steps to see if we can finally grow the country GDP to a level that, we have not seen before, and it requires bold steps. And I think this is one thing that can be done to incentivize that.
Catherine, before we go to the break as well, what did you make of what the opposition leader said in terms of a counter to the government's suggestion on the table, or what they've put forward as a program in relation to sugary drinks and SCT on sugary drinks, the taxes or the funds they plan to rake in from that, as well as they're saying that it will encourage healthier behavior. Yesterday, the opposition leader said, what about taking off the GCT of water, even quip that, water is more expensive than gas? What did you make of his counter argument and his recommendation in relation to water versus the tax on sugary drinks?
Well, I think that from the revenue measure was announced, we as a JMEA have come out to say that while we support a healthier Jamaica, the proposed revenue measure does not allow for manufacturers to encourage manufacturers to reformulate, as it is a straight across the board tax. And we are in a working group currently with the Ministry of Finance and the Ministry of Health to see if there is another way to implement this revenue measure that would allow for a certain amount of grams of sugar to be allowed as a non-tax item, as that would then encourage manufacturers to reformulate while providing Jamaicans with a lower sugar option. So I think that he spoke to that in his presentation yesterday, and with the suggestion of the removal of GCT and bottled water, I mean, it certainly would encourage persons to drink more bottled water if there was no GCT on it, because that would make the end purchase less expensive than it currently is.
Who's on that working group, Catherine, if you don't mind?
It is a mixture of technocrats from the Ministry of Health, Ministry of Finance, and some of our beverage manufacturers.
All right, we're going to take a break, and then when we come back from the break, get your initial reaction as well, Lloyd B. Smith.
Jamaica live good, yeah. I make we enjoy life, what we feel safe at night. Jamaica live good.
Jamaica, stop the killing and give up the guns. Just live good now.
The time brought to you by the Ministry of National Security and Peace is
7:33.
For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies including plugs, switches, panel boards and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10, or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
Boy, I'm glad we get away to the beach for Easter.
I'm glad you bring the Maxfield Easter bun.
One thing connect them all.
Maxfield for maximum satisfaction.
Order by WhatsApp at 455-0144.
Over a month ago, we invited you to be a part of something special, something different. And you know what? Over 500 of you said, all right, we're in. That means over 500 of you decided to move from just being a listener to being a part of the family. The Nationwide Family Club isn't just an idea anymore. It's real, it's growing, and it feels good.
And because family looks out for family, for the entire month of March, we're doing something extra. Every single week, one family club member will win a $25,000 supermarket voucher. That's 4 winners, 4 weeks, 4 real chances. Because when you stick with us, we believe you should feel it. Loyalty shouldn't just be appreciated, it should feel rewarded.
The Nationwide Family Club is where you, our listeners, come closer. Not just hearing the stories, but seeing how they're made. Not just listening to the voices, but connecting with the people behind them. In the Family Club, you get early access to documentaries, exclusive content on air, member-only conversations, birthday shout-outs, breaking news alerts, and depending on your tier, studio experiences and private live streams. That's not just regular radio, that's family access.
This isn't just a subscription, it's connection, it's community, it's saying, I support what you do, and I want to be closer to it. More content, more interactions, more behind the scenes, and no, more chances to win.
And if you've been watching from the sidelines, we've been saving a seat for you. Join today. Be a part of the first 1,000 family members. And this March, you could be one of 4 people walking away with a $25,000 supermarket voucher. Go to patreon.com/Nationwide News Network. The Nationwide Family Club. Closer than radio, stronger than ever, and growing with you, our family.
Back with us a day after, the morning after the finance minister's contribution in the budget debate. He spoke for about 3 hours, Mark Golding did. What did I say? Finance Minister, the opposition leader, beg your pardon, Mark Jefferson Golding, spoke for about 3 hours, taking us through the presentation, addressing many things as he went along. We have Catherine Silvera, Antoinette Hamilton, and Lloyd B. Smith with us. Lloyd, in terms of tone, and of course, many people don't accept that a budget presentation is also a time for politics. Was there enough of that, and did Golding meet the mark, you feel, based on his presentation on Tuesday?
I think overall he did. What I appreciated most of all is that he had somewhat toned down on being vituperated and we know in previous presentations we tend as opposition spokespersons and leaders to, as we say in Jamaican parlance, trace and cuss off the government. He was measured in his criticism of the government and the Prime Minister, and I think that would have set the stage for meaningful dialogue with the government moving forward, because he did present a number of interesting and some of them pragmatic ideas which the government could embrace. Yes. And I think this is refreshing, because there was a time when the PMP used to say that, well, we have our ideas, but we're going to keep them to ourselves until we form government, because we don't want the government to steal our ideas. This time round, Mr. Golding put quite a number of suggestions, some of them very pragmatic and worth looking into, on the table. And I think this is a refreshing change. And this is the direction in which the opposition should be going, rather than just opposing.
But if we look at the content, Lloyd B. Smith, and you always have to come back to the content, the substance of what he said. If we are to look at his contribution where national security is concerned, and he says, I'm again calling for the introduction of body-worn cameras. And by those words, we take it to mean that body-worn cameras have not been introduced, and that this call is supposed to precipitate, hasten the occurrence of the use of body-worn cameras. But this is wide off the mark, and this is all he had to offer on national security. What should we draw from that?
Well, I think that was perhaps one of the most disappointing aspects of his presentation, quite frankly. I don't think I was a bit taken aback when he called for that, you know, because to be fair to the government, there are steps that have been taken and are being taken to deal with the matter of body cameras.
But they are being worn. It's not even steps being taken, Lloyd B. They are the hundreds of police personnel walk around with them every day.
Yeah, so I think he slipped on that one, quite frankly. I don't know, he should have done his homework, or those who helped him preparing his presentation should have delved further into that and given him a more meaningful and credible platform on which to speak on that. And as you quite rightly said, I think overall is looking into the national security portfolio was not sufficient, because crime continues to be a major bugbear to develop overall development of the country and governance, and it's not just murders.
Lloyd B, looks as if we lost him there. Looks as if we lost him. Are the ladies still with us, Catherine and Antoinette? Yes. Okay, all right. Catherine, let me ask you this. Where social protection is concerned, and you're not just business, you're a regular person like us, so you live in the same country and you have the same concerns about social safety net and so forth. The opposition has proposed, through the opposition leader, the establishment of a national disability fund, allocating $1 billion annually to support persons with disabilities, which of course rolled it into $5 billion over the course of the life of a government. He says the fund would provide assistive technologies, improve accessibility, and support organizations that serve the disabled community. Is this something that any government should look to put in place, you believe?
I think it's something to be considered for certain. I think that there are a lot of businesses that hire persons with disabilities. I visited a factory actually in Mandeville last week, and they hire persons that are deaf, and they're a woodworking facility, and so they have to ensure that they have proper safety facilities in place while they're working with the wood. But it's encouraging to see more and more businesses that are employing persons with disabilities, and so we want to encourage that, and we want to make sure that persons with disabilities have the livelihood to be able to grow and develop within the country.
Antoinette, on the point of clean slate, the opposition leader said, listen, for those people who owe property taxes, traffic tickets, water bills, and student loans, interest and penalties have often grown larger than the original debt. So what he's saying is that the government ought to provide a second chance to these Jamaicans, give them the chance for what he dubbed a clean slate by forgiving the outstanding interest and penalties and providing a moratorium for the repayment of the principal sum. And he says this will allow thousands of Jamaicans to get back into proper economic activity without having the sword of Damocles, the debts and the debts hanging over their head. What do you make of that?
It is something to look into. Of course, we'd have to look at the cost benefit of it, but I think overall the benefit will outweigh the cost. Because he's right, when persons feel that they have a breathing space, they're able to, as it indicated, start a business, can access a loan again, just have the principal to deal with, so they know that the commitment is not gone, but at least they don't have to think about the hefty interest and penalty that would have been accumulated. And I'm speaking mainly for persons leaving university, some of whom would have gone into the BPO sector. Their salary is not at the level that they would have expected coming out of university, and so taking off that additional interest burden, I'm sure will allow them to start a little business and to contribute to, more in a more meaningful way to economic growth and development. Because we know that they are very creative. Being in the space, working with MSMEs, a lot of young people are starting businesses, and I think that giving them this additional breathing space will free up, their ability to access capital and to even grow larger. And help some to even start, because some of them who are very diligent are actually paying back the student loan and the interest, and so this will give them a breathing space. So I think we can try some stuff and see if it will work, and hope for the best. I think what we got from this presentation was some solutions that could be considered.
Yes.
And I think that was refreshing as Mr. Lloyd B.
As Lloyd B. said, yes. Catherine, I've been listening keenly to these things for a long time now, and I'm sure you have as well, perhaps longer. And I've been waiting to hear something game-changing where energy is concerned. The opposition leader touched on energy, but I don't think there was a big punch there. And we talk about increased productivity, expanding GDP, and all of those things, greater value added. We'll never, ever get there without energy being addressed the right way. You've heard 3 speeches so far: finance minister, opposition spokesman, and opposition leader. Have you heard anything where energy is concerned that gives you hope that we'll be moving in the right direction to get the price down?
George, to be frank, no, we have not heard anything about what can be done to get the cost down, and so I do certainly hope that the Prime Minister in his budget debate tomorrow is going to address it, because we do know that the contract expires in 2027 with the JPS, and so we need to hear from the Prime Minister what are the steps, what is, we're a year and 2 months maybe away from that.
But to add perspective, Catherine, not to cut you, but we know that a new JPS license is not the game changer, because it's not people baking bread and you bake bread at a cheaper cost than me, so you can sell it cheaper. We were talking about energy, which is expensive in most places and is going to cost a pretty penny. So the JPS license renegotiation is not the game changer. It will need something else or some other things to accompany that new deal.
Yes, but I think it all needs to be tied into the license. So in terms of more solar or more alternative
renewables,
energy plants, or more renewables. What about wheeling? What about selling, companies selling back to the grid? What about the reality of the fact that there is losses that is happening on the electricity, and how are we going to take those losses back, for lack of a better word? I mean, the opposition leader did speak to some measures, and we need to hear more. We know that there are communities that are using electricity that aren't paying customers, and we do also hear that they want to regularize themselves, but the costs are too expensive. So how is the government going to help these communities to become customers, or to even encourage the renewable energies in those communities? So I think we definitely need to hear more from the Prime Minister tomorrow as it relates to energy, our overall package, not just the license renewal, but what else is going to be included.
Hear you on that. Thank you this morning for your time, ladies. I really appreciate it. We're overtime. All the best to you. We'll talk again, Antoinette. Catherine, all the best.
Thank you. Have a good
night.
night.
Thank you. You're welcome.
All right.
For all your scales and food processing equipment, call Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited at 876-968-9612-5. The time by Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited is
7:48.
Hawkeye is protecting homes, businesses, and communities with trusted security solutions. The Temperature by Hawkeye, securing what matters most, is
26 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 25 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 21 degrees Celsius in Mandeville.
If you love the vibes, the laughs, and the real talk, then you're one of us. Don't just listen, belong. Join the nationwide 90 FM Family Club on Patreon.
Someone just messaged me to say, George Davis, are you for real? How you get bottled water to be a luxury? What? It's a convenience, and that's what technology is all about. Don't be daft, my friend. Bottled water for many people is something they buy because they can. Yeah. If take a Jamaican at average, at random rather, and tell them that, listen, you're not going to get any bottled water for the rest of the week. Can you survive? Can you drink the water that's in your tap? Can you drink the water that the NWC provides most of us access with? Yeah? So when you say that bottled water, you make it look as if bottled water is an essential. It's not. So don't be daft. Anyway.
We're turning now to get a reaction from the Minister of Water, Environment and Climate Change, Matthew Samuda, in reaction to what the opposition leader said yesterday in relation to the environmental levy. Good morning to you, Minister.
Good morning to you and good morning to your listeners.
Thank you so much for joining us here on Nationwide this morning. So yesterday, the opposition leader said that the environmental protection levy, that the design of it is flawed and that the funds that will be raked in from this goes to the consolidated fund. It's a disadvantage to local manufacturers in comparison to importers. What do you make of his argument in relation to the EPL?
His argument is flawed. The cost of environmental management in this country far exceeds what we currently draw from revenue from the existing EPL rates. Environmental management is not limited to actions of NEPA or the Forestry Department. If you look at the costs associated with running the National Solid Waste Management Authority, if you look at the costs of managing effluent through the Water Commission, the EPL is a mere contribution. Now, he should know, because he would have helped with the legislation associated with the IMF program of 2013, that the country has long moved away from creating standalone funds. You'll recall that the TEF, for instance, used to be a standalone fund. It now goes through the consolidated fund. And post the 2013 IMF program, this was established as a best practice, which Jamaica has long since bought into. Going to the consol fund is not an issue. So the argument is inherently flawed. And as were his other arguments related to environment and climate change.
I'm most keen to hear you on the court action that the opposition leader sets out, where, given the severity of storms and the fact that Jamaica is among those countries that are the most oppressive polluters, my phrase, that we have a case to make against those big polluters, the heavily industrialized countries, whose activities no doubt have a deleterious impact on the climate and perhaps cause the frequency and severity of storms, hurricanes in this part of the region to be even more devastating. He says that it is something we should take steps to bring to court. I want to hear you on that.
Attribution studies done certainly by Professor Michael Taylor and published globally related to the storms that we've faced prove that climate change is indeed a factor in the damage, or rather in the severity of the storms that we have been facing. That's impatient of debate. But his comments ignore a few facts. Firstly, the case brought through Vanuatu and AOSIS was supported by Jamaica with Minister Johnson Smith appearing at the ICJ, I believe in December 2024. Right? So the very case he referenced was based on steps taken by Jamaica through the AOSIS negotiating group in climate change. He, however, gives the impression to those who are listening that somehow a case through the ICJ would bring about a windfall of reparatory funds to Jamaica. That simply isn't so. And I think listeners need to understand the process. There are two mechanisms that govern how climate financing works. He referenced the ICJ case. Important to note is that your top emitters have not subjected themselves to the jurisdiction of the court. So taking a court ruling to seek reparatory funds, not including the largest emitters, is more of a moral position than one that could create a windfall of funds. Meaning,
stick up. Right. I was going to ask you the top emitters and who they are, and if and how many of them are a part of the binding framework of the ICJ.
So the top 5 emitters contribute close to 60% of global emissions. Correct? None of your top 5 emitters are subject to the jurisdiction of the ICJ. So if you think of the US, China, India, Russia, Indonesia, they have not subjected themselves to the jurisdiction. Though members, they have not subjected themselves to the jurisdiction. So a court ruling demanding reparatory payments would have no binding effect on them. Now, from a moral perspective, the argument can be made, but the impression yesterday was given that there is some pool of funds that Jamaica has been docile in approaching, and nothing about Jamaica's leadership in climate change or environment has been docile. But the ICJ matter simply doesn't bind anyone to pay us reparatory funds. From a moral perspective, sure, but it is greatly, it is expensive also to pursue these sorts of cases. So you'd be pursuing a case that is not likely to deliver funds through a reparatory mechanism to the Jamaican public.
Well, nobody knows, but I guess I have to ask, based on duty, how long would such a case run if we were to put the necessaries in place to mount it?
So over 5 years, at least. So this is not a quick fix. But as I said, the problem is that the mechanism doesn't bind the countries that are most culpable. And if you even move to the next 5 and the next 5, yes, you get up to 90%. It's only 2 of the top 10 emitters that are bound in this way, and they make up 1% of total emissions. The other thing that he failed to explain or failed to understand, I'm not sure which one it is that Article 8 of the Paris Agreement, and the Paris Agreement is the global treaty that deals with how we approach climate change, was very clear because they refused to accept it, being the largest 20 emitters, that the need to reduce loss and damage is not to be read as a reparatory mechanism, meaning the global multilateral structure doesn't accept liability. It's actually stated outright. Now, it's wrong, and it's unfortunate, and it really puts FIDs and LDCs at a big disadvantage. But that mechanism isn't structured. Now, 2 years ago, actually 3 years ago now, you recall Jamaica led the call in Dubai for the establishment of a loss and damage fund. Jamaica led that call, right? That fund was operationalized last year in Brazil at COP30. No, rather, well, operationalized the year before, but we'll make payments this year. Jamaica has already made its first submission related to Hurricane Melissa. We expect to be formally advised of the amount that we'll be able to draw down in June of this year. So again, nothing docile about our leadership and our processes. But he doesn't understand the exact mechanisms that he's quoting from in terms of what is available and what isn't available. Now, 2 things to note. The GCF, which is the Green Climate Fund, the largest climate financing mechanism established, has, since its inception, invested $17 billion in climate change globally. Jamaica would have just gone through a $12 billion disaster. So I need listeners to understand that there's no magic pool of cash out there in the world, because people and larger states have not acknowledged their role in climate change.
Yeah.
Now, Jamaica states very clearly in every forum that it has available to, through the UN and otherwise, that they need to. Jamaica has not been docile. If you look at the fact that the Prime Minister would have been appointed in 2017 by the SG, UNSG, to lead the climate finance effort. And through that effort, with President Macron and the Qatar, he would have raised $70+ million over that period. Jamaica was then asked to chair what's called the NDC Partnership, Nationally Determined Contributions, which is a mechanism under the Paris Agreement. So the very emissions cuts that have taken place globally were lobbied for and pushed by Jamaica. Most recently, Jamaica has taken the chair of UNEON, the United Nations Environment.
And that's you.
There's nothing docile about.
Yeah, but the spirit of what the opposition leader is saying is that there must be some recourse that small island developing states like us, you call them SIDS, there must be some recourse for a catastrophic series of events that happen during a particular season that we have very little to do with inducing. So you are saying that it has to be negotiations and diplomacy in the way that those things have been going on, because there's nowhere to turn to get this huge windfall to help you to build back after the disaster strike, is what you're saying.
The loss and damage fund has $700 million. That's the fund that exists for the global loss and damage. The ICJ has no jurisdiction over your largest emitters. So the point I want listeners to understand is that yes, there is a moral need for Jamaica to speak truth to power, so to speak. However, there isn't a pool of cash, as would have been suggested or could have been reasonably understood from his presentation yesterday, sitting and waiting. And a court case will not bind the largest, certainly through the ICJ, will not bind the largest emitters.
Hear you on that.
That mechanism simply doesn't exist. The other point of understanding is that yes, there is a way for small island states to manage financially post a disaster. One is the listing of catastrophe bonds. Jamaica did that. You recall the previous listing by then Minister Clark.
Yes.
Second space is to get your fiscal house in order and to have this standby agreement that Jamaica had with the IMF through the Emergency Resilience Fund, which wasn't a structural agreement. It was in place to make sure that Jamaica is able to deal with emergencies when they come and to deal with resilience. That is the world we live in, and Jamaica had both of those in place, which is why we'll be able to recover quickly from the disaster.
Hear you this morning. Thank you for your time, Minister. All the best.
Thank you.
Minister of Water, Environment and Climate Change, Matthew Samuda. Closing the front page.
Front Page was brought to you today by ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
You're listening to Nationwide 90 FM. The time is
8:01.
From the mountainside to seaside, countryside to townside, inside and outside, it's across Jamaica this morning.
Taking you across Jamaica this Wednesday morning, Wednesday, March 18, 2026 in St. Anne. The University of the West Indies Discovery Bay Marine Laboratory is offering students and the general public the opportunity to experience the wonders of the ocean without stepping into the water. This as the lab unveiled its immersive marine ecosystem hallway experience on Monday. The installation brings the underwater world to life through live aquaria showcasing 3 distinct marine ecosystems: deep sea, coral reef, and mangrove. They give visitors an up-close look at the organisms that define Jamaica's rich marine environment. The hallway also features interactive exhibits, 3D models, tablets, and large screen displays. To enhance the underwater effect, the windows have been tinted to darken the space, while air conditioning ensures that the live specimens and equipment remain in optimal condition. The project was made possible through a $4.2 million investment by the Sandals Foundation. Lecturer and academic coordinator at the lab, Dr. Camilla Trench, says that the ecosystem hallway forms part of the facility's ongoing work to broaden marine education and expand public outreach He says in addition to the Sandals Foundation's contribution, the lab invested several additional millions into the project. The team undertook more than 40 boat trips, each costing approximately $30,000 to collect live specimens such as anemones and other marine life. Over 3,000 people were fined under the Litter Act in the 2025-26 fiscal year. That's according to Local Government Minister Desmond McKenzie. Minister McKenzie was speaking on CliffViews Online on Tuesday.
Over some 3,500 Jamaicans were fined under the Litter Act and was prosecuted by Solid Waste.
Over what period of time?
In the last financial year. So they are out there, they are enforcing, especially around commercial garbage, which is a major problem. So they are enforcing, Cliff.
Desmond McKenzie, Local Government Minister. The Litter Act was introduced to prohibit the improper disposal of garbage. Fines are set as high as $10,000 for offences including littering and defacing public property. In St. Elizabeth, a man has been slapped with a series of charges following an altercation in which he reportedly used a woman's licensed firearm to damage her property. Charged is 44-year-old Owen Miller, a contractor of Howard Acres in Goshen. He has been charged with possession of prohibited weapon, unauthorized possession of ammunition, unlawful discharge of a firearm in a public place, malicious destruction of property, and simple larceny. Reports from the Black River Police are that Miller and a woman became involved in a dispute on Saturday, February 28. During the incident, he allegedly gained access to the woman's gun and discharged several rounds towards her motor vehicle, damaging both the front and rear tires. The matter was reported to the police and an investigation launched. As the investigation progressed, officers made several appeals for Miller to surrender. He was handed over to the police by his attorney last Friday, March 13, and was charged following a question and answer interview. He's currently awaiting a court date to be set. And that's it for Across Jamaica.
Whether you're buying your very first home, purchasing a more spacious home, or securing an investment property, a JMMB Bank mortgage gives you the confidence to take the next step. Enjoy low interest rates, competitive processing fees, a 1-month payment holiday available upon request, and exclusive merchant partner discounts to help you get move-in ready. Your dream deserves the right support. JMMB Bank Mortgage, you can do this. We can help. Speak with a mortgage specialist today at 876-998-JMMB or visit jmmb.com. Conditions apply.
Jamaica! Tune in to CliffViews Online on March 20 from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. as we broadcast from the University of the West Indies for World Water Day. This year's theme, Inclusivity and Equity, highlights the commitment to ensuring that every Jamaican has access to safe, reliable water. Representatives from Jamaica's major water agencies will be present to answer questions, share valuable information, and help you explore the many possibilities within the water industry. So tune in to CliffViews Online for World Water Day celebration, Inclusivity and Equity. Catch the live stream on our YouTube channel at Nationwide 90 FM Live 2, or keep your station locked to Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. This broadcast is brought to you by the Ministry of Water, Environment and Climate Change.
Are you ready to turn your sales and marketing skills into high earnings? Nationwide 90 FM is searching for business development executives to help us grow our business and build lasting client relationships. If you have experience across all stages of the sales cycle and possess strong communication, negotiation, and time management skills with a proven sales track record, this opportunity is perfect for you. Join our team and work with the top corporate brands, media agencies, and of course, our on-air personalities. Enjoy networking opportunities, professional growth, and competitive commissions. Ready to take the next step? Send your resume to hr@nationwidenewsnetwork.com today.
Fit Nation is brought to you by Express Fitness 24/7. Your goal is our mission.
You wanna hot body? You want a Bugatti? You want a Maserati? You better work. You want a Lamborghini? Sip martinis, look hot in a bikini. You better work. You wanna live fancy, live in a big mansion, party in France. You better work. You better work. You better work. You better work. Now get to work. Now get to work. Ring it on, ring it loud. Don't stop now, just be the champion. Work it hard like it's your profession. Watch out now, 'cause here it comes. Here comes the smash up. Here comes the mash up. Here comes the big beat. Big beat to blast ya. No time to quit now. Just time to get it now. Pick up what I'm putting down. Pick up what I'm putting down.
That time of a Wednesday morning, it's time for Fit Nation. This morning in Fit Nation, Montego Bay is gearing up for the return of one of Western Jamaica's most anticipated community events, the Mobe Night Run, set for April 4 at Harmony Hall, hosted by the Howard Ward Benefit Foundation. The high-energy 5K run walk blends fitness, carnival vibes, and philanthropy, with 100% of proceeds supporting education initiatives, including scholarships for secondary and tertiary students and recovery support for Anchovy High School following Hurricane Melissa. Now in its third staging, the event continues to grow as a signature Western Jamaica experience, attracting runners, families, and corporate teams while delivering a lively atmosphere along the route and a major post-race celebration. This year's event will feature legendary soca artist Ira George and headline entertainment. For more, we're being joined by Chair of the Howard Ward Foundation, Howard Ward, and Director of Running Events Jamaica, Alfred Frano Francis. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning to you, Ms. Thomas. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Fine.
And Alfred on the line as well.
Pleasant morning to you and all the listeners in Radio Land.
Morning. So let's begin with you, Howard. The Mobe Night Run, as we told our listeners just moments ago, is entering its third staging. Talk to us about how the event has evolved since the first one.
Well, it's a pleasure having me to describe. All right. It has grown in participation and interest for both runners and walkers, with increased community and corporate support with groups. Also, improvements in, like race logistics and creating an experience for the participants that has really attracted people to come out and support, because it's really about giving back to the community. And the event itself has established in a way as a major player in the running community in Western Jamaica, and also attracting runners all the way from Kingston. So the success has been part of, the product that we have put out.
And talk to us about the beneficiaries for year 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm. Year one went to, we did $8 million in scholarship to, we only did around 30 students in year one. Mm-hmm. However, year 2, we did 48 students, and we gave $10 million. So in 2 years, we have given out $18 million in 2 years.
That's
and
lovely.
we're heading to pass the $30 million in 3 years. So we're on our way.
Do you have a particular target for this year?
Well, based on the math, we're trying to raise over $12 to $15 million. But it all depends on the support that we get. But I know corporate Jamaica will come out, and people just come out, because this one is about a movement. Mm-hmm. And the movement is scholarship for secondary and tertiary students. So it's all about support youth and development.
Certainly.
So in this year, we're really reaching hard to see how best we can we can achieve and support in Anchovy High School after devastating damage that the school took from Hurricane Melissa.
Mm-hmm. And
so the run,
yes,
the run also, after the run is also, in the wider community to bring change in wider community support. So, it's a family affair.
Mm-hmm. And talk to us about that family affair, because the Run Walk is not just about fitness, but what else comes with the Mobe Night Run?
Well, it brings the community together, and that is a very important part. It reconnect people through sports, fitness, and just the experience. Also, when we look at the tangible things that you'll get when you participate in the Mobile Night Run, you'll get a dry fit shirt, a bag, drawstring bag, you'll get a medal, you'll get a rag, and you will get the experience of running that is nowhere else to be found in Jamaica. And I can say that confidently, because it's a night run with an experience that there's no other one like the Mobile Night Run.
Mm-hmm. And this is a good time to bring you in, Frano, if you could talk to us about the route, the distance, and what runners can expect.
Right. The event is a 5K run, walk, or dance. It starts on Jimmy Cliff Boulevard.
Mm-hmm.
We head to Howard Cook Boulevard. We go straight down to Alice Lemire Drive, and we turn and come back to Albany Beach Park, and we enter the park and we finish within the park, close to the staging area. So the event, as Howard alluded to, is filled with music along the course. Of course, we'll have our hydration courtesy of Catherine Speak and Gatorade. We'll have our medical preparedness with no desire to use. But it's going to be a fun event that we will distract you with music, so you just keep rolling and floating. When it comes to lighting, well, Ward's Pools will make the night into day. So it's well lit, the course is secure, and we're going to have a wonderful experience. It's going to be chip time, therefore you will have your net time and you will have the gun time. Now the winner will get the gun time, but the individuals, once they step on the mat at the start and they come back at the mat at the finish, they can have their net time. That is the time from mat to mat.
Mm-hmm.
So registration is now open, and you can go to Howard Ward, giving.org, Mobile Night Run, or you can go to runningeventsjamaica.com. You can use your debit or your credit card online, or you can have a walk-in at Fairview, where Howard has set up a wonderful container where you can do your registration. No, pickup is going to be at Pier 1. And, that's really a wonderful setting. And that will take place the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday before the event. The event is on the Saturday the 4th,
Mm-hmm.
right? So we will have pickup right through Good Friday into Saturday morning. Now, as spoken, once you register and you get your notification, you come with your receipt and you will collect your bib with a chip. You'll collect your shirt, you'll collect your bag, and you collect your rag.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the bib and the chip and the shirt is for running, and the flag is for, the rag is for waving at that fantastic after party. And once you come to the finish, everybody will get a medal. something that you can take home to remember that wonderful experience that you had.
Yeah, you keep
and everybody who participates in this race can feel secure in their self-esteem and pride that they are contributing to saving and changing lives, which is so important.
Yeah.
Even so now, post-Melissa, because the school fee money went into roof replacement and repairs and everything. So it's even more important what Howard Ward is doing with his foundation. So the more we can raise, it's the more we can give. So I'm imploring persons to come out and support and let us make a meaningful impact on the lives of our youngsters.
So the basics again, Frano. So it's on Saturday, April 4.
Right.
Right. And tell us again the websites where people can go and sign up and the cost.
Yes. It's $3,000. It's at the howardward.org or runeventsja.com. You can go online. And you can call 503-6404 with the 876 before if you have any queries.
So it's 503
876-503-6404 or you can call 876-967-4903. For corporate teams, a lot of corporate teams, the company pays for them. Therefore, we will send them a spreadsheet which they will populate, send to us. We will send an invoice and they can pay bank to bank. So that's about it when it comes to registration. But the numbers that we outlined are very important because majority of our participation in events like these come from corporate groupings. And there is a lot of excitement where corporate entities are concerned.
Yeah, so the numbers again, 503-6404 and 967-4903. So for those out there in corporate Jamaica interested in participating in what is for a good cause, you can reach out to those two numbers to get assistance with signing up your colleagues for the Obey Night Run. Gonna give the final word to you, Howard.
Yes, I just want to remind people that 100% of this proceed is going toward education initiatives. So it's important that we come out support. Also, events like this really heals and rebuild Jamaica, one child at a time. So it's very important to stay focused and give to the kids because they are the future of our beautiful nation called Jamaica.
Indeed.
And the run behind it is come out and run for the fun and make it a great afternoon.
Indeed. What time does it start?
7 p.m.
Okay. 7 p.m. on Saturday, April 4, the Montego Bay Night Run 2026. So thank you so much for your time, Chair of the Howard Ward Foundation, Howard Ward, and Director of Running Events Jamaica, Alfred Frano Francis. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time.
And thank you for having us.
Not a problem.
Thank you very much.
No problem. So that's been it for Fit Nation. Gonna take a break and come back with more on NTM.
Sip martinis, look hot in a bikini. You better work. You wanna live fancy, live in a big mansion, party in France. You better work.
Fit Nation was brought to you by Express Fitness 24/7. Your goal is our mission.
You're listening to Nationwide 90 FM. The time is
8:22.
Fontana Pharmacy has a wide variety of items from pharmaceuticals, household, cosmetics, toys, and more. The temperature by Fontana Pharmacy, it's all good inside, is
27 degrees Celsius in capital city Kingston, 26 out west in Montego Bay, and in Mandeville, 23 degrees Celsius.
For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies including plugs, switches, panel boards and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10, or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business. This station raised me. It gave me a voice. And if Nationwide has ever meant something to you, come on in. Join the Nationwide 90 FM Family Club today on Patreon.
Turn up the heat with Hot Listing, Nationwide 90 FM's new on-air and online classifieds feature. If you have a car for sale, room for rent, or yard sale come up. If you look at work or need stuff. If you provide a service, make it a Hot Listing, Nationwide 90 FM's new on-air and online classified segment. Your listing plays again and again. From morning till evening. You sing it, we play it. You say it once, Jamaica hears it all day, every hour. Contact our sales team now at 876-630-1210 or sales at nationwidenewsnetwork.com. Hot Listings on Nationwide 90 FM, a new revolution in media.
Attention all data protection enthusiasts. Tune in to Nationwide 90 FM every Tuesday at 8:20 a.m. and Thursday at 8:25 a.m. for a new program, Data Protection Matters. Starting June 4, 2024, join us as we delve into crucial topics that will keep you informed and compliant. Data Protection Matters is hosted by Chuck Cameron, founder of Design Privacy, your trusted partner in data protection. Don't miss out. That's every Tuesday morning at 8:20 and every Thursday at 8:25 a.m. Stay protected, stay informed with Nationwide 90 FM and Design Privacy.
.26 on the clock. Later on today at about 6 p.m. we should be sharing with you on our YouTube platform an interview we did with the lead attorney in the Julian Silvera murder matter, manslaughter matter, beg your pardon. Is it sound funny saying that? Mm-hmm. Yeah, boy. Yeah. Here's a teaser of what's to come.
Julian Silvera murdered Melissa Silvera. To that count, he entered a plea of not guilty of murder, but guilty of manslaughter.
Pleading guilty to manslaughter would have and was indeed, I think, the best option at the time.
How does it work?
Yes.
Does your client in his own contemplation and wisdom call you and say, you know what, rather than try to fight the murder charge,
yes,
I want to offer a guilty plea to manslaughter?
You can only provide the avenues and the roads available to a client. Mm-hmm. These are the consequences if you go here. These are the consequences if you go there.
Up to that event, there has been provocation from her ever since the death of my son.
One of the worst things you can tell a man, mm-hmm, your average Jamaican male, is give him directions in relation to his mother.
Melissa told me I must stop f***ing my sister.
So I said 6 o'clock, 7:30, after comment section. So come after comment section this evening, and and watch with me and with us. All right.
I look forward to that one.
Yeah.
I don't think folks have heard, extensively or comprehensively from Julian Silvera's attorney on that matter. So this is the first time you'll be hearing from King's Counsel Peter Champagny. So something to look forward to, get into his brain on how he dealt with that prominent matter.
And we spent about 50 minutes.
Okay.
we had some time.
Mhm,
We had some time to explore some issues. Yeah.
Very well. I look forward to hearing what he had to say at 7:30. So this evening, 7:30 on Nationwide. So when comments section ends, don't leave. Wait for your next notification for The Point Is.
All right. This is where you take a break and I do
Right.
real estate matters. All things real estate.
From the world to Jamaica, CFL delivers. Global reach, Caribbean reliability. Call 876-320-2263 or visit shipcfl.com. The time by CFL Jamaica is
8:29.
If you have an objection to this marriage, speak now or forever hold your...
Don't do it, Tevin! I still love you. I have since the day we stole your mom's car and got matching dolphin tattoos.
Oh, Lordy. Janelle? From spring break 08?
Yes, it's me.
Janelle, you gotta move on.
We're like the wedding guest that doesn't ruin the ceremony. CG United Insurance. Good like that.
Over a month ago, we invited you to be a part of something special, something different. And you know what? Over 500 of you said, all right, we're in. That means over 500 of you decided to move from just being a listener to being a part of the family. The Nationwide Family Club isn't just an idea anymore. It's real, it's growing, and it feels good.
And because family looks out for family, for the entire month of March, we're doing something extra. Every single week, one family club member will win a $25,000 supermarket voucher. That's 4 winners, 4 weeks, 4 real chances. Because when you stick with us, we believe you should feel it. Loyalty shouldn't just be appreciated, it should feel rewarded.
The Nationwide Family Club is where you, our listeners, come closer. Not just hearing the stories, but seeing how they're made. Not just listening to the voices, but connecting with the people behind them. In the Family Club, you get early access to documentaries, exclusive content on air, member-only conversations, birthday shout-outs, breaking news alerts, and depending on your tier, studio experiences and private live streams. That's not just regular radio. That's family access.
This isn't just a subscription. It's connection. It's community. It's saying, I support what you do, and I want to be closer to it. More content, more interactions, more behind the scenes, and now, more chances to win.
And if you've been watching from the sidelines, we've been saving a seat for you. Join today. Be a part of the first 1,000 family members. And this March, you could be one of 4 people walking away with a $25,000 supermarket voucher. Go to patreon.com/Nationwide News Network. The Nationwide Family Club. Closer than radio, stronger than ever, and growing with you, our family.
All Things Real Estate is brought to you by the Real Estate Board, Commission of Strata Corporations.
Welcome back to Nationwide this morning. Time now for all things real estate. Today we're discussing the Commission of Strata Corporation's annual returns, and I'm joined by legal officer at the Real Estate Board, Jared Johnson. Good morning, Jared.
Morning, sir. How you do?
I am good, man. You good?
Yeah, man. I'm quite fine. Yeah, man.
Excellent. All right, let's get cracking. So we've talked about this before, but for those who may be hearing about it for the first time, just define a strata corporation or a strata property, no?
Right. So when we speak about stratas, we're talking about a type of land ownership where persons known as proprietors individually own lots on a strata plan. And then in addition to that, they share ownership of what are known as the common areas that appear on that plan. In most cases, in the Jamaican context, you're speaking about a residential apartment complex, or maybe if you're looking at the commercial side, you're looking at a plaza. Now, the group of persons who collectively share ownership of that common property are known as a strata corporation, which in itself is a legal body formed of those owners that operates quite similar to a company. The strata corporation, just like a company, is required to hold AGMs, annual general meetings, where the owners then vote on matters having to deal with the administration of the common property for their benefit. And that process also includes the passing of a budget, the maintenance budget for the strata, which is really the agreed expenditure for all of the common expenses. So those things like security, common area utilities, light, water, and just the maintenance of common spaces. So it can include even things like landscaping and gardening. And each proprietor of the strata corporation then has to pay a portion of those budgeted expenses, which is how you get their monthly maintenance, which is determined by something known as unit entitlement, that really looks to the number of shares that they have in the corporation in the common property, and that is how they get that monthly maintenance figure that it is used to then fund the maintenance of the common property.
Where strata corporations are concerned, Jared, what's the role of the commission?
Right, so the Commission of Strata Corporations, also known as the CSC, which is the entity of which I am a part, is the government body that is charged with regulating strata corporations throughout Jamaica. It does so in a number of ways. So the first way it does so is through its periodic sort of inspections that are carried out by our inspectorate department, as well as, quite importantly, the collection of documents and your returns, which are filed by corporations on a yearly basis to empower us as the regulator to then supervise the activities of strata corporations to ensure that their activities are in keeping with the relevant law. The CSC also plays a role as an arbiter in the use of its dispute resolution process, where a proprietor, for example, levies a formal complaint against the strata corporation or even another proprietor, for that matter, relating to some matter having to do with the strata complex, which needs to be urgently addressed.
And for those who aren't conversant in the language of business and they hear annual returns, they may hear it around tax time where companies are concerned, but they're really connecting with that. What exactly are those?
So the annual returns simply speak to the collection of documents that each strata will have to file with the commission on a yearly basis. And it really is just a summary or a report of the activities of the corporation over the past year. So even that budget that we spoke about earlier, which would have been passed and approved at a general meeting, that will be reflected in the annual returns by virtue of the financial statement. So in the returns, there's a prescribed form, the forms 13A and B and C, which allow for strata corporations to put pen to paper with respect to all of the income and expenditure for the past year and report that to the commission so that we can see the inflows of maintenance monies as well as the outflows in respect of how it was spent. In addition to that, those general meetings that we spoke about earlier, the corporation is required to take minutes of those meetings and include those in the returns as well, so that the commission can see that the voting rights of the proprietors has not been, particularly abrogated, to ensure that, everything, the decisions that the corporation has taken are really what were decided on in the general meeting of the proprietors. And just in general, it is a summary or compendium of all of that historical data for a particular filing year, which must come to the commission.
If good standing means that you're up to date with filing your annual returns, what is good standing? What's the benefit to the Strata Corporation of ensuring that their annual returns are submitted to the Commission?
So there are a number of benefits. One of the most important ones, I certainly believe, is that when the Commission has returns, complete returns on file for a particular Strata Corporation, it inures to the proprietor's benefit. Because, for example, and this is a situation that we as a regulator see quite often, if a proprietor has a complaint and comes to us to use our dispute resolution facility, if the Commission is already armed with the documentation with respect to that particular strata's activities for the previous year, that allows the Commission to much more effectively do its job in sorting out these issues. So let's say, for example, a proprietor is aggrieved by a vote which purportedly took place at a general meeting. They might allege that, for example, their vote wasn't counted or it was miscounted, or even that a vote wasn't taken, and the executive committee of the strata simply, did something on a frolic of its own. If that is the case and a formal complaint comes to us, if the Commission has the minutes of those meetings in the annual returns ready and waiting, that certainly speeds up the dispute resolution process and also streamlines it to further, better empower us to be able to make these decisions as well as to provide a determination of these issues in short order.
Errors.
Also, if you're a strata and you're fully compliant, it's remiss of me to not say, you are issued a compliance certificate for that filing year. And that is also quite beneficial for persons who might be interested in purchasing a unit in that strata. And if you're an owner who is looking to sell your lot in a strata, if you have a copy of that compliance certificate and can share with a prospective purchaser, that might, sweeten the deal. It might be a plus for them in the sale process as well.
Yeah. Errors, omissions, or errors of omission from annual returns filed, how you deal with those?
So when the Commission detects errors, and usually the errors will come from a lack of information. So what we will do, we'll issue notices to corporations pointing out those deficiencies as well as, providing the proper guidance in order for them to make the requisite amendments to either refile or resubmit the information another way. But in certain circumstances, the Commission also takes a more hands-on approach where, we have had great success or great feedback from our stakeholders with respect to our workshops that we have for executive committee members, property managers, attorneys at law who might represent stratas, where we have them essentially come and speak with our inspectors and do a hands-on sort of exercise with respect to how the annual returns ideally ought to be filed based on the statute, and usually they are then able to then go back to their strata corporations and disseminate that information. So it is like a positive feedback effect, and we've had great resounding feedback with respect to how we assist them in that particular forum, and it's something that the Commission is not going to slow down or relent on. It's something that we are going to continue to do in the future because of that feedback.
The consequence of not putting in those annual returns on time, Jared?
Right, so the first thing is you don't get that coveted compliance certificate we mentioned earlier. And in fact, any person who, feels, to check the Commission's register or tends to check our register either in person or online will see that that particular corporation is deemed non-compliant. But even more drastically than that, there might be a situation where, you have a strata that is continually negligent with respect to the filing of its annual returns to the detriment of proprietors, and the Commission as regulator has to step in and intervene. In fact, in some cases we'll have to approach the courts for certain orders in order to compel the owners and in particular the executive committee members to file those annual returns, because you have to understand these things relating to the financials of the corporation, the fact that money is being collected every single month. If proprietors are unsure of the income and expenditure of the corporation, there's no way they can know that their money is not going into a black hole.
Yes.
So that is one of the reasons why we as regulator, take this compliance issue quite seriously. Because without the returns, we have a much more difficult uphill battle with respect to regulating corporations as are required by law, and hence that sort of drastic option might arise.
And of course, the Commission is duty-bound to assist those with executive roles at the various strata bodies who may be having challenges filing the returns, putting the returns together, and being in compliance, eh?
Precisely. And what I would say, the returns are due on the 1st of April every single year. So it is not something that is, amorphous in respect of it is a fixed date every year.
Yes.
In addition to being due on the 1st of April, there is an additional sort of grace period in legislation that allows for things like the preparation of the accounts, because we know that does take some time. So you actually have until 120 days have expired from the end of the filing year, from 1st April, which takes us up to the 31st of July. So on or before 31st of July is when all of the documentation should come in to us. What I would say to persons who are executive committee members in stratas who are charged with the filing of these annual returns, start the process from as early as possible in the reporting period, so you're not overwhelmed, 1 month, 2 weeks before the deadline, trying to piece together all this historical data, particularly the financials. And as it regards accounts also, if your budget allows for it, and the corporation approves that expenditure, you can actually procure the services of a qualified accountant or bookkeeper to assist you with the preparation of the financials in particular. I've seen stratas have great success there, especially when there's no one person in the strata who might have that requisite accounting experience. And of course, if there are any questions or uncertainty about the documents themselves, what is required by law, you can always reach out to the Commission for assistance at 24 Trafalgar Road, Kingston 10 in New Kingston, or on our website at reb.gov.jm. And they can also call us at 876-926-9748 or 49.
Excellent. Thank you this morning, Jared. Jared Johnson, he's the legal officer at the Real Estate Board for comprehensive perspective on the issue of annual returns. Thank you, man.
All right, man. Take care.
Good. That was All Things Real Estate.
All Things Real Estate was brought to you by the Real Estate Board, Commission of Strata Corporation.
Decorate like a designer with BH Paints. The time brought to you by BH Paints is
8:46.
And I will never be set free as long as I'm a ghost, but you can't see. If I could read your mind, what a tale your thoughts could tell. Just like a paperback novel or the kind that drugstore sells. And when you read
Da 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 da. Woo! Nationwide Family Club roll call on this Wednesday. Want to say welcome to new member Patrick Rowe. Patrick, good morning and welcome, sir. Darnis Carr, welcome, Darnis, to the Nationwide Family Club. Good to have you here. So good you could stop by. Hubert Rowe, good morning, Hubert. Good morning, Hubert. Good morning. You know that there's a series of birth names that people stop give their children. I mean, I guess Robert still. When was last you see only one person under 15 named Robert? It's been a while.
Yeah.
So the Robert, so we have the good Bert, they mean like Robert and Hubert.
So where are the bad
But
birds?
they have like some Seabert and Debert.
Debert.
Yeah, Egbert.
Egbert. Yeah.
Hubert, pick up yourself. Welcome, Hubert Rowe. Inez Campbell Murray. Inez, you just joined? Naughty. Welcome, Inez.
Hi, Inez.
Yeah, M. Thompson. Welcome to the Family Club, M. Thompson. And Shandy Lizzie. Welcome, Shandy. Good to have you here as part of the Nationwide Family Club. Now, what we have for you this week, we have some behind-the-scenes content. Because guess what? A certain man, not from Galilee, was here yesterday, with Cliff Hughes, on Cliff Hughes online. And Amir said, so him come here now. He didn't see you because remember you had an engagement.
Yes.
And I wasn't here on the building. I was downstairs.
Yes.
So the man come up here and I go out with a bag of things. Oh, this stutter and talk tough and... So one of my agents told me that he was here. Some say I'm going to pull up on him now. I'm going to roll up on him now. So when I roll up, he never knows something about it. So I'm busting at the studio. Man want run, he want go through the roof, he want go through the wall, he want go underground, can't move. Eh?
Sad.
Now we have a heap of ups here. So
we have ups?
Me corner, I'm in the corner. Yeah, man. Nora work with this man. Yeah, man, Nora work with this man.
No,
yeah, man,
NGV.
Yeah, man, sure. Yeah,
what?
Yeah, man. So my agent had to go around her to get me in here as a surprise.
Wow.
So me walk with her two LP, two Peter Tosh, and I said, boy, I'm not abusing. You understand? So yeah, when it used to be, wait, well, go on, my friend. So, so that is on the Patreon platform for the Family Club members.
Nice.
And we have our weekly interactive quiz for you as well. Members, do look out for the email and complete the form as soon as possible so we can begin activating your benefits. What are those benefits? Well, birthday, anniversary shout-outs, personal milestones, death announcements or remembrance announcements for your loved ones. And the email will allow you to put in the information that will allow us to schedule your private studio tour and live show experience. Remember, it's you plus a guest, one dege guest. Yeah? And if you're requesting personalized birthday video messages from your favorite Nationwide host, then completing the form is important so we know who to do and who to make the what. You understand? So look out for the email and, as Jamaicans would say, full out the farm.
Yeah.
Full out the farm. Good morning to my favorite German listener, viewer, Family Club member, SH. Good morning. Said that. Oh, by the way, I see several people. I get blamed for everything, I see several people asking why they were blocked. Juliet, me would be the last person to trouble you because you don't give problems, and and I heard that SH of all SH. No, listen, I don't think I've blocked anybody since the year start. I swear. Yeah, no man. So yesterday I was running Jopo Block and it looked like people started getting them feelings. No, I know me. If anything happened on me, it wasn't me. The Shaggy defense, it wasn't me. Okay, it wasn't me. So I don't know anything about it. I can investigate, but it wasn't me. Them say a lie, me I tell you, me pull up on such man. Listen, when we walk into the studio yesterday, the man want to run go over Tivoli, I don't know where to run go. The man want to run and can't move. Of course, the man listen. You understand?
It's that time of the morning when we tell some of our very special folks happy birthday and happy anniversary. I'm seeing here Vivacious Verlene Hall Smith sending happy birthday greetings to her dear daughter Shantae Smith Campbell, wishing you abundant health, lasting happiness, and great success in this new chapter of your life. Keep serving the Lord. He will guide you. So happy birthday to you, Shantae Smith Campbell, the daughter of Vivacious Verlene Hall Smith in the YouTube chat. Nova Lee sending happy birthday greetings to is this Cable or Cable Lee from your daddy. Love you, son. Blessings forever. So happy birthday to Cable Lee from your dad. I'm seeing as well Verdella Brown today. Mr. Brown and Mrs. Brown are celebrating their anniversary. So it's the anniversary of the Browns, 34 years of marriage. More blessings from the Lord, Verdella says. So happy anniversary to you, Verdella Brown and Mr. Brown, 34 years of marriage. And Pamela Turner sending happy birthday greetings to, is this Thakenya? What an interesting and beautiful name.
Yeah, never heard that one before.
Thakenya.
Never heard that before.
Celebrating her birthday today. Happy birthday to you, coming from your grandmother and the rest of your family. They're wishing for you a lovely day.
Vanessa Francis says, happy birthday to my husband, Johnny Francis. She says, thank God for allowing you to see half century plus 1/5 of a century today. Continued good health. So Johnny Francis, the wife, saying happy birthday to you as you turn 51, my boss. All the best to you on this day.
Llewellyn Winter saying today his daughter Lisa Renee Winter is celebrating her birthday. Good morning to you, Lisa Renee Winter. It's your birthday today. Yeah. Happy birthday to you from your hardworking daddy, Llewellyn Winter, top and man. Your sister Jodian.
Top man, Llewellyn Winter, and your son. We call him son, Frame. I'm a friend, Frame. Big up Frame. Frame sister, you know? Yeah, man.
So happy birthday to you. I'm seeing as well.
Did you do Latoya Dockery Bailey?
No, not seen
so
that one.
Gatti MC says, happy birthday Latoya Dockery Bailey. Have a fabulous day. Wishing you God's continued blessings today and always from the McCrae family. So the McCrae family sending birthday greetings to Latoya Dockery Bailey. They're wishing you a fabulous day.
Did you see this one from Karen Lawrence? Sending happy birthday greetings to beautiful friend Miss Nesbeth of Manly Meadows. Enough love, Miss Dell. So good morning to you, Miss Dell. It's your birthday today. Happy birthday to you from your friend Karen Lawrence. I'm seeing as well.
Here.
Gatti MC. You said this one?
Yeah.
Here,
Juliet, no. Tana, no, you read that one. You read Juliet, no.
Oh, she says, Tana, please wish me birthday greetings from now. But Jesus, since I'm blocked, I may not return for my birthday when it's October 28th.
Then Juliet, if you're blocked, how you talk to it? Juliet, what's wrong with you, man? So,
good morning to you, Juliet.
Morning, Juliet. We're going to make Sandra send something for you. Don't worry yourself. Donna Llewellyn says, good morning, my friend. Just tell me hello. It's not my birthday, but just want a warm howdy. Manchester, rainy and cold. Donna Llewellyn, the lady of the fabulous display picture. Good morning to you, Donna. Sending warmth and hugs for you down there, well, up there. Even when Saeed did say down in Mandeville, they nearly killed that. Up there in Mandeville, in Manchester. All the best to you, Donna. Warmth and friendship from your friends and your family here at Nationwide 90 FM. Good morning.
It's because of how you're driving, you don't even remember the map.
Saeed said down in Mandeville.
Yeah.
Not gonna make that mistake again.
Nah.
Big up, Saeed. Morning, Council. Morning,
Saeed. I'm seeing here too. Special good morning before I get to that birthday. Special good morning greetings going out to Miss Thomas. Good morning to you, Miss Thomas, over there at the Halfway Tree Post Office. We hear you're an ardent NNN listener. Good morning to
Miss
you.
Thomas.
Hope you're having a good morning on the job.
You saw Carvel Wallace?
No, not seen that one.
Carvel Wallace says, George, say happy birthday to Khadija in Atlanta. So Khadija, good morning to you. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Carvel Wallace advancing the birthday greetings for you. And she says, you are a special one, Khadija. Happy birthday to you up there in Atlanta. Hot-lanta, as my friend would say. Hot-lanta.
I see James Torres. Good morning to you, James.
Morning, James Torres.
And James Torres is wishing a bless up and birthday greetings to Seymour from the Pick and Mix Shake Up or Shake Club family. Pick and Mix Shake Club family. Wishing Seymour a happy birthday. So happy birthday to you, Seymour.
Oh gosh, Steve Taylor is saying, George, half of a century plus 1/5 of a century is supposed to be 17 or 51. You're right, I never read it right. So, Steve, thank you for that. And, Johnny Francis, apologies, sir. You were 51 some time ago. Hey, Johnny, you have a page, Johnny. You go on, good Johnny, all right?
Big up
so,
yourself.
Johnny Francis, big up to you as you turn 70. And the greetings coming from your wife. Steve, thank you for straightening that out for me, my bro.
Yeah. So if you're celebrating your birthday today, happy birthday to you. If it's your anniversary, happy anniversary as well.
Martin Sylvia says, happy birthday to a wonderful friend of mine, Dolores Brown. So Dolores Brown, happy birthday to you. We hear you are wonderful and we believe Martin Sylvia who's sending the greetings for you.
Happy birthday. Some final ones here is Sergeant Elvina Nelms, as well as Sergeant Kirkland Cross, Constable Romario Walters, Constable Davian Hyatt, Johan Stevens, and Mrs. Pearl Nelson, Mama Pearl in Manchester, 92 years old today. Happy birthday to you, Mama Pearl. Wishing for all of you a lovely one.
Dahlia Shirley says, I'm just saying hi. Well, hello, Dahlia. Hello.
Good morning.
You drink tea yet? Well, after 9. Dahlia drink tea long time.
Good morning to you, Dahlia. Hope you're having a good morning. And as we wrap the show, thank you so much for tuning in to Nationwide This Morning NTM. Thanks so much to our super producer, Michelle McCrae Smith, our super editor, Kimon Thompson, our technical operator, the musical maestro, Jeremy King.
At what work Friday? Because you work Friday before, me work last week. So at what work Friday? A Michelle at work or a Jeremy at work?
Just stay tuned.
What?
Stay tuned.
New artist at work Friday. We will have flags. We will have flags. Never take notes of in time. Like Nora, not true? Yeah, man, Nora, I take transcript for this man so she can report.
Yeah. But for careful how we are talking.
Yeah, we're watching Nora. Nora.
You guys have a good morning.
Love comes first. We'll make heaven our place on earth. Ooh, heaven is the place on earth.
You just heard Nationwide This Morning on Nationwide 90 FM.
And fair. Nationwide 90 FM.
Across several parishes, new treatment plants